doing? Welcome. I'm going to bring Mr. Noli in just a second. He's sat here in a Discord call, waiting very impatiently. We'll have it in just a moment. He didn't even grin at that. Damn, I thought that'd make him laugh. Ah, well. Oh, he's shaking his head at me. Oh, I've messed up now. Okay. How's everyone doing? Welcome. We're just going to get started now. Let me get you in on voice. Boom. They should be able to hear you now.
Hello, everybody.
And we're bang. There we go. Oh, wow. Look at the live chat updating. It's taking a second on that one. Okay, so it should catch up in just a second. Welcome, everyone. Let me know if you can see us, hear us, all that good stuff. And then we can kick on from there, because we're going to try and do a few different things in this. Turn up your volume. What, my volume or Noli's? My volume's normally about as high as it can be, so I don't want to mess with that. But if Noli's quiet, then I'll turn him up.
Do you want me to talk a bit and see if I'm the right volume? I might be too low.
I'll put you on max right off the bat. And then
blast me.
There we go. You know, just so you can completely burst my eardrums.
It'll be nice having someone else to talk at the same time, because in my Q&A yesterday, I don't think I stopped to breathe for like 3 hours.
Welcome to streaming, my friend. You've forgotten what it's like after doing the kitchen streams, man. You've forgotten the amount of talking you have to do when you're on your own. We can see and hear. Okay, good. Volume level's okay. We sound all right. Anyone saying that I'm too quiet, I would just suggest you turn your volume up, because normally I have people on Twitch telling me I'm too loud. So I highly doubt that I'm too quiet on here, because it's the same layout as Twitch. I do, by the way, still have Twitch alerts turned on, so if anyone follows on Twitch, you'll pop up in the stream, so feel free to go and follow that if you want. But turn Noli up. Let me see if I can do something on this end. There we
go. I could also turn my volume up, but
I've whacked you up a little bit, so that should do the job. That should hopefully do the job. We'll see if that fixes it. They can let you know.
I hope so.
But welcome, everybody. Welcome. Oh, I was going to turn my camera on and put a Payday dollar on the screen. That's twice in a row I forgot to do that. I had it on the desk in front of me, and I was going to have the camera come up. I was going to do it. Hang on. I'll put it back on the screen so people see. It's a dollar there.
There's a machine
it didn't work out. It didn't work out.
Someone did follow you on Twitch.
They did. Neries, thank you very much for the follow. Appreciate it. There's people apparently that was a good way to promo my Twitch, and I'm just getting followers. Very nice. Twitch.tv/RedarcherLive. Thank you, everyone. I may well just mute Twitch alerts, though, just for the sake of us not hearing that Doctor Who quote about 50 times. But yeah, so we're going to be taking all your Payday 3 questions. We're going to be trying to answer any queries that you've got. I know Noli already did round 1 of this yesterday, so I'm surprised you even agreed to this, because you're going to have to look at the B-roll footage again, you know, so I bet you're looking
I'm still seeing you things. It's all right.
That's what was so funny as well, because Mario came up in my stream yesterday, and he was like, oh, I will watch your video, but I'm just so sick of seeing all the B-roll footage over and over again. And I was like, I don't blame you. I really don't blame you.
Yeah, I think in my video, I did a lot more from memory and didn't really hone in on anything specific in the B-roll. Like, if it happened to be good in the B-roll, I was like, oh yeah, it's that mechanic. But yeah, I don't think I've looked quite as in-depth as some of the people at the B-roll.
Same as me then, yeah, because I kind of pull things out. Thank you, Hexdrive. I kind of pull things out as well. I was like, let's just talk, and then I'll pick things out that suit the commentary, yeah. Mainly because I was trying to run to time. If I'd have actually gone through it and picked out things more specifically, then I would have probably not got the video out on time. Zoe as well. They're actually getting some Twitch followers. It's kind of mad. I was not expecting that to work. What is this, where I just shill everything and then just see if it works? Should we put the Loot Payday 3 music on in the background? Let me get that in. Let me get that on in here. Where is that gone? Where has that gone? English. There we go. Boom.
Yeah, when I streamed yesterday, I had eerie silence instead, but I don't think I think I filled every gap in that silence I possibly could. So.
Well, once we get started, we'll probably be the same, so we may not let the music play right the way through, but we'll leave it on for a tiny bit in the background, you know. But I have set up, ladies and gents, the previews here you can see for the gameplay, so we can go through the reels and have a little chat through them. So we're going to do that shortly. Crazies, thank you. But yeah, we're just going to take some questions. I think we'll start off with a bit of a Q&A section, maybe look at the B-roll about halfway through, go back to some questions. Whatever works, I don't mind. I don't even know how long we're going to do this for, we'll just see. But yeah, let's start with taking some questions. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see if you actually get a whole bunch that are different to what you had yesterday, because I bet you feel like after doing however long the stream was yesterday, you answered loads of stuff as it was.
I feel like I should create a Q&A just document that I can refer people to.
Yeah, you do your own FAQ.
Because I have answered the same thing a lot, but that's fine. Lots of people haven't seen it. I don't know what the best way to do that is. There are still some questions I don't think I have answered that people haven't asked. So
yeah.
With
the other characters, we don't.
Yeah,
we don't know.
That's everyone's favourite question.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't know. Let's pick some questions out. So, did you asked for some on Twitter as well, didn't you? Did you actually get any on replies to that? Because we could use those as well.
I did that as a joke.
Oh, did you?
We can use those. Yeah, we can use those. I didn't realize people would actually ask me anything. Let me have a search through those. I'll be very bright because I use bright mode.
I'll have a look through some questions in here while you do that. Let's have a look, see what people are saying. And just as a general rule, folks, if your question disappears off the chat on screen and I haven't read it out within about 30 seconds, feel free to put it again in the chat just in case you missed it. There will obviously be some questions we can't answer, but we'll try and make it clear which ones we can't.
Yeah, the Q&A function does like save the questions, if that makes sense. But if you get lots of questions, you can't you're not going to make it through them all, basically, and you'll end up stumbling on the same question a lot. I didn't know what was the best approach. John, as in Rusty Chains, John asked when I'll breach my NDA and give him C-stacks. Never.
Well, you see, I was worried for a second that the C-stacks were going to be payday credits when we got the bill.
I also initially assumed that when I played in London, and I was like, I'm just not going to delve into this because I don't think the system will be functioning. But it does function, and it's not at all. Yeah. So that's good.
Yeah, 2 unpaid currencies and then 1 paid one will be added at a later date. We still don't know what's going on with premium stuff with payday credits, and I mean, the thing is, they said post-launch. We don't even know how long after post-launch it'll be. It could be a week after, it could be a month after. We really don't know. So, we will see.
Here's one that I actually can't answer because I don't know. Is the Bulldozer's voice actor the same?
That's a good question. Who voiced the Bulldozer in Payday 2? Do we know?
I can't remember. Did he... Really, what I'm saying is, does he sound similar? I don't think he does. But he was probably the unit I heard the least.
I'm just going to look this up. Who voices the Bulldozer in Payday 2? PJ Stoppleworth is apparently his name, which is a great name for a Bulldozer voice actor, Stoppleworth.
It could be. Probably is. But I didn't hear enough of him. I heard a lot of the Nader, the Grenadier guy. That dude's got a really distinct voice. I heard a fair bit of the Taser. He has hilarious death sounds. The Cloakers and Edgelord. Yeah, but Bulldozer, we didn't see that many Bulldozers, fortunately, and when we did, everyone focused them down.
Yeah, I only saw a couple of Bulldozers, and I didn't really listen to the lines too much, so they could be, I don't know. By the way, do you know if they're calling the Grenadiers, or if they're calling them Chokers? Because Andreas refers to them as a choker in my interview, which went today. Make sure you go and watch if you haven't already.
I'm pretty sure that was a work in progress name, and I was told something along the lines of Nader, but it wasn't a Grenadier, it was an abbreviation of it.
Okay, Nader
so it could be
sounds
either.
Better,
yeah. Grenadier is actually the name of the enemy type in Crackdown that does something vaguely similar, which is a mod for Payday 2, which maybe there was some inspiration from. It's a really good rebalance mod.
Okay. Also, what's this we're seeing in the chat? Because you mentioned this a second ago, saying, what have IGN done this time? What have they done now? What have they done? IGN has a page on their site on Payday 3 that might have unreleased screenshots of the You're kidding me. They haven't screwed up twice, have they?
They've just screwed up once in one big go. It's just people have only just noticed it now.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, so IGN, from what I've heard, IGN put up footage yesterday that was not the B-roll stuff, because we were told the same thing the press were told, which was we can't record our own gameplay. We'll give you some, to use in your videos. That's why you're seeing the same B-roll footage in every press article and every YouTuber video, because we can't use our own stuff yet. People say music is a bit loud. Blimey, it turned out massively. I didn't know. Fair enough. There you go. Turn that down. My bad. But yeah, and IGN put up some just of their own gameplay, so they've put it on their website as well. Oh God, I just don't even. I don't know. I don't know. What I would say is just bear in mind, as we said, the build we played was about a month old, which is why they didn't want us to record things. It's not like they're trying to hide things from us. It's all about embargoes and that kind of thing, but it is an old build. So all I will say is, even though IGN have done a bit of a silly and people will don't want to look, don't bother, because it won't look the same anyway. Keep the surprise for yourself.
Just having a glance at it, there's nothing that we haven't spoken about already.
Okay.
There's nothing new that hasn't been mentioned. It's just you get to see it. But like I said, or like you said, I think it'll be very different.
So do I. I mean, the HUD alone has changed a lot. Like when we played it, the HUD was far more simplistic. Now people are saying the music's too low now. Guys, work with me here, okay? Work with me. Let's not be too picky. All right, let's read through some more questions. Oh yeah, so silly IGN basically. Although I did find it funny that there was a point this morning when my video had more views than IGN's. That has since changed, unfortunately, but it was funny to see when I woke up to that. I was like,
they took down their first one, right?
Yeah.
Naughty IGN.
Oh,
yeah.
It's just hilarious. I don't know how you messed that up. Like everyone was so clearly briefed, but there's always got to be the one person that does their own thing, right? I don't know. All right. What have we got? Let's pick some things.
I can run through the remaining questions.
Oh yeah, let's do your Twitter ones.
I've got. How was your day? It was very good. I've been playing. We're allowed to talk about the fact we've been playing the Payday 2 heist, right?
Yeah, we're allowed to say we've got early access. Just not allowed to say anything about it.
Yeah. So that's
we have early access to the heist that comes out tomorrow, but we can't tell you anything about it yet. 2 p.m. tomorrow. Keep an eye out. Day 3 of the week of Payday, and then Noli, you'll no doubt put your video out in the evening as well. So you'll have stuff from both of us talking about it tomorrow. So get excited.
What the hell are the electric flashes that are there every time someone shoots an enemy with a Moscone? I think that's just because they happen to be shooting tasers.
Yeah.
And if you shoot the taser in there, I don't even know what you call it, like a charge pack that sits on their waist, it explodes and shocks everyone around them.
And that, ladies and gents, is what we call attention to detail.
Yeah, it doesn't actually kill them. It just shocks them. So you can, and they will be really pissed off if they're just... If you let them live that, they'll be disgruntled. There's some funny lines.
There you go. Can you smash the Cloaker? What kind of smash are we talking about here, Jarrow? What kind of smash? Because I'm concerned.
I mean, Payday 3 blew me, so...
Yeah, has everyone seen this? That some people were taking the me off of Noli's title because Payday 3 blew me away. It was just... it was a very good thing.
So yeah, Payday 3 sex.
In Payday 3. Oh my goodness. There's no way.
Is pre-planning still a feature? Yes. It's hard to explain because there's lots of little elements of it, but it has been simplified. I think the most interesting thing about it is that you can only add one pre-planning asset or favor now. Which means that it's not because I actually think the new system, despite being simplified in lots of ways, might be better. Because I hate the current pre-planning system, especially with assets, because it's just buy everything, because why not?
Yeah.
Actual in-depth pre-planning can be way more interesting, but it really depends what the favors are. I haven't seen that many to be able to say that much. There was one that was like a different escape point on the bank heist, and that was about it.
Yeah, like that's the only thing that worries me. The thing is, I didn't get to try the pre-planning too much. Like, as I said, we all had max level characters when we played, but like certain things were unlocked and certain things weren't. I'm not quite sure how it all worked. Like, for instance, there were only 2 overkill weapons in the build. One was the piglet grenade launcher, one was the sniper. I couldn't use the sniper. Don't know why. Might have just been my build had something slightly different to it, but it said it was locked for me. But I didn't have nearly anything available for pre-planning, so I kind of saw it in the lobby screen, but I couldn't really do much with it. So I didn't really get a proper grasp of it, so I want to see like more of it. But I'm a bit sad that it doesn't seem as in-depth. That is a shame, but if what they've got works, then it does the job.
Yeah, I think it's a balancing thing, and I think it does make the decision more of a decision. We'll have to see like what the complicated favors are like. But to be honest, like the resources are so valuable, just bringing along a medit bag that you've bought is probably worth it in this game.
100%.
So I think it's better balanced around the way Payday 3 works, but it's the kind of system I could see them developing in the future. Question about heister customization options. Anything with heisters other than suits, gloves, and masks? There wasn't, was there?
No. And as we've said already, the mask customization I personally think is a little bit of a letdown. Not because it's like it's lacking or anything like that. I just feel like it's, you know, it's a bit excessive. Sorry, I was just getting rid of someone who was asking the same question 50 times. We'll answer it, just don't spam it, please. I feel like it's just a bit too similar to Payday 2's. Because what you've basically got there is a system that's almost the exact same. The way you pick the colours is a bit more modern. You kind of see the colours a bit better to put on the mask, but you still pick one pattern and you click it and it auto applies it to the mask. You can't move it around. You can't do anything with it. And while, as we both said, I get why they've not done a full customization thing, because the dangers of that, of people creating dodgy symbols, all kinds of things like that, is a bit much. So a Call of Duty emblems editor style thing is probably not going to happen. It'd be nice if just when you pick a pattern, you can move that one pattern around or resize it or something, just so there's a bit more interactivity to it. So mask customization is just pretty much the same. So if you liked it, then you're happy. But for me personally, which I know this is sacrilege saying to you about the whole mask customization thing, because you're Mr. Mask of the day, but I've not been as bothered about customizing masks in recent years. So I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what they could have done differently to avoid all the potential bad actors. I don't think it's been massively prioritized, but I do think maths will be pretty cool in Payday 3.
Yeah. I think... I don't know, because the thing is, I just wanted it to feel a bit more modern, because the thing I've said with Payday 3, in general, is... sorry, I keep getting pings on Discord and they're distracting me. Let me just get rid of that. Okay, there we go, cool. Sorry. Yeah, for me personally, with Payday 3, in general, everything feels like it's either a little bit better or vastly better. You know, a little bit better, like some of the like the loud elements, things like that, and the way enemies are handled, to stealth, where it's just, you know, far and above miles better. I'll never want to do Payday 2 stealth again, kind of thing. Like, there's big changes, as Tommy Maguire once said. There's only a couple of things where I'm like, this could have been improved a little bit, this could have been added, this could have been changed. And one of them, as I've said, is the looting system, which I know is a very nitpicky thing. A couple of people have agreed with me since, but not many people have said it, so fair enough. But yeah, there's just like a couple of things, like with the masks. I'm just like, I want it to be a bit more modernized, a little bit different. But if it's not changed between the builds that we played and the official release, it won't ruin the game or something. The game is going to be good. I mean, for all the spamming...
Sorry, they're the kind of systems I can see being developed
exactly
through the game's life cycle anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see customization especially being something that they will prioritize a lot. So I wouldn't worry too much about things like that at launch. And like you say, it's not going to massively ruin your time with the
Payday 3
game.
is terrible because there's no looting animation, guys. I can't sleep at night. It's crazy. No, I'm literally only saying the things that I did in my issue section purely because it's like, here's just the things that I would do slightly better. And that links to, I've just seen Bumbo in the chat literally just pop up immediately. How does it compare to Crime Boss? That's literally, that's why I brought it up, purely because I played Crime Boss and gone, I really like the looting system in that. It's like literally the only thing that game does better. Like the only thing. Payday 3 is just absolutely amazing. So I'm very kind of, what are people saying in the chat? Do we even... Are you seeing some of this? People mentioning something about a beta? Is this...
Chat's way too small for my eyes.
I'm seeing people in the chat mentioning a beta, and I'm scared to even look. I'm scared to even look. SteamDB leaked a beta artwork.
Oh, SteamDB!
Oh, for God's sake! Oh, we're not getting another leak. How are we getting leaks when we're getting so much news about Payday as it is? Come on.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's probably happening. I don't think... Does it have any details of it? Like, you know...
Anyone in the chat want to clarify any extra information? Because I don't really know anything to do with this here. What I will say is, bear in mind, some of these things could just be found in the back end and not be true. I mean, Payday credits are in there, and they're not even going to be there at launch. So take it with a pinch of salt with it being a leak. But I will say, it would make sense for it to be true. I mean, like, I said it to you when we were in Sweden. I've said it in my video. We got access 3 months ahead of time. That's a long amount of time ahead of release for us to be hyping up the gameplay of it if you're not going to then get to try it yourself. That's why I was figuring that a beta would make sense. So,
yeah, and people are clearly very keen for a beta, and I think Starbreeze are really confident with their product.
And they should be. They really should be.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way I've responded to people who think I'm being overly positive. It's like, look, I'm absolutely fine with you thinking that. That's fair enough. You have to play it to believe it, which is why I've said, like, I really hope that there will be some sort of open beta that people can play to try the game out, because it sold me, and it sold like Marion a top hat, and he's a lot harder to sell to than I am.
Yeah.
So
yeah, exactly. So if those leaks are true, we're not gonna like kind of touch on them too much. We'll wait and see if there's actual news. But yeah, I didn't know that, so we'll see. And no doubt they'll actually say something if it's true later, and if they don't, it'll just fade into nothingness. But I do hope there's a beta. I think that would be nice.
Also a beta could be, I mean, I'm thinking about back to Payday 2, a beta could be next week, or it could be 2 months away.
Exactly,
right?
Yeah.
The Payday 2 beta was very close to launch. But so still exciting, don't get me wrong, but yeah, who knows? Who knows? I try to avoid leaks like the plague. So.
Yeah, the only reason I touched on some of the ones I did a couple of weeks ago is because it had been so quiet, and I was like, well, I've got something to talk about here. I may as well address it, you know what I mean? Whereas now I've got plenty to be putting out. I mean, you know, week of Payday and all that. I don't need to be adding in things about leaks as well. I'll wait and see if they actually confirm it, or if they tell us anything or anything like that. We'll wait and see. So yeah, we'll leave that there. We won't touch on that too much now. Right, we're literally getting probably hundreds of questions now. So let's see if we can steamroll.
I do have one really good one. because I don't know how to answer it, and then I've done a lot.
Oh, okay. By the way, just because there's nearly 500 people here, this is insanity. Thank you all for being here. I really do appreciate it. Please do drop a like if you're enjoying. And if you are new, do feel free to subscribe. I really appreciate it. Got new videos coming out every day. All right. What's your question? I'm excited. You hyped it up.
So, can guards do things like turning on the lasers in art gallery after you've turned them off, or stop PC hacks while in search? Are they sort of responsive to what the player does?
Oh, I don't know this.
Yeah, I don't believe they'll do things like turn the lasers back on. First of all, when you turn the lasers off, you will probably clear the room immediately after, so I don't see that being a big deal. PC hacks, we've not really done many PC hacks, have we?
Yeah,
but it's the kind of thing, I wouldn't be surprised if they could interact. They're mainly seeking you, obviously. If they see a broken window, they won't go and repair the window. They'll see the problem and they'll seek out the cause of it. But that would be interesting with hacks. I wouldn't be surprised. The AI functions way more like that. I would be surprised if they could interrupt it, forcing you to sort of flank back round to it again, whilst also trying to avoid the guard who's searching for you. It's those kind of little experiences, mini heists within a heist, which are the best thing about Payday 3, in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, right, with stealth, is that I like that now things like windows being broken or open or anything like that, you know, it's not, I've seen it, let me call the police. It's, oh, let's have a bit of an investigation. What's going on? You know, like, I've had that happen a million times in, like, car shop where I've shot a guard and suddenly hit a window, and then because it's cracked, like, I've basically ruined the stealth run. Like, there's much more kind of forgiving things to stupid stuff like that. Like, if you mess up a stealth heist properly, it's not going to instantly save you, kind of thing. But stupid little things like that where, oh, I broke a bit of glass, the whole run's ruined, those kind of things are being avoided now by having, like, the search phase and the private secure areas, that kind of thing. Like, it just feels like stealth's been modernized a lot.
But yeah, you know those moments where you save stealth. You're like juggling multiple pages. It's like that, but amplified, because you can save stealth in really clever ways, as opposed to just juggling pages and timing things correctly. That's what I would say it's like akin to.
It's just it's beautiful. It really is. It's very, very good. Okay, let's see what other people are saying. Will full stealth be possible? Do you mean completing heists fully in stealth? Yes. As far as I know, we've not heard anything about any heists that are only partially stealthable. And I mean, I don't know. Is it a hot take to say I don't want partially stealthable heists like Counterfeit? If you're going to be able to stealth, I'd kind of just like to be able to do the whole thing in stealth rather than switch halfway through.
Yeah, I think I agree.
Yeah. We both played Crime Boss and seen that in Dragon Dogs, and, you know, not been very happy, you know. How many... we should have a swear jar, like a swear jar, but Crime Boss references. Put $1 in every time we mention crime, or just I mention it. I feel like it's only me.
Well, it's left my head recently.
Because that's the thing, you had like your 50-hour play stint when it came on PC, and I'm having it now, but on console.
Yeah, no, it's fun. Payday fans will enjoy it, but it is a bad game.
Yeah, it's fun, but it's not good. Like that's the thing. Is, as you've said, you know, it's a fun game, but it isn't a good game. Like, realistically, it's addictive, but you'll eventually turn into Andy in Toy Story and be like, I don't want to play with you anymore. So that's kind of like the opinion of it, but either way. What else we got? What's the worst or most niche perk you've seen or used in your playtest? That's a good question.
There were a few very niche perks, like very specific in their application. Whether I can think of one on the spot,
that's the thing, because we don't have pictures of them, and I didn't take notes of all the skills specifically, so that's a tough question.
I'm thinking.
What I will say, well, especially while Nelly's thing, is you might have a better memory, because he did have to make a build for Overkill specifically. All I will say is the thing that I do love about the skills on the other end of the coin is there isn't anything that I think personally is Inspire level, where it's like you really kind of need this for a very good build. You know what I mean? So I like that it's a bit more flexible. You don't construct a build and think, I really need Inspire, I really need Swan Song. Like, it feels like the skills are still good, but there are none in particular where you go, I've got to have this if I want my build to be perfect. It allows you to be a bit more kind of flexible and create more role-specific builds. I mean, one of the devs told us that he constructed a build that allowed you to 3-shot a dozer, but if you were surrounded by cops, you would struggle. So, like, you are kind of built more towards specific roles, which I really, really like. Have you happened to think of a skill while I was saying all
that? Yeah, thank you. Thanks for covering. There's a few that are, like, a little bit underwhelming, but that's because I build them up in my head, because the way the skills are set out with, like, a sort of top skill, that top skill isn't always the best skill in the tree, I would say, like objectively. So for example, I'm pretty sure there's one that allows you to reload and shoot, and that's a top. Reload and shoot, that would be great. Reload and run.
Shoot while reloading.
Like sprint and reload, which is useful, but is it a top tier skill?
It's not Inspire level now.
And then there's obviously like gimmick skills, but I love them. Like the one that uses up your stacks of whatever, like rush, and lets you charge through the doorway. I thought that one was really cool. The one I pointed out to you, where if your teammates die, you go faster. It's super. That's pretty neat.
It's an interesting one, isn't it? Yeah, I like that one a lot. Like running to revive them. That's good.
Yeah, that's the concept behind it. But most of the time, I feel like you just be like, "Why am I faster? Oh, he's dead again."
Yeah, it's like almost a way to realize it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll see more. Yeah, whenever we get our hands on it next, we'll be able to look at them in more detail. Because hopefully, that by the next time we get our hands on the game, we'll be able to take screenshots and that kind of thing and investigate more. And then we'll have 3-hour videos.
There are some skills that you go, that sounds bad, and then you play with it. Like that would be bad in Payday 2. So the best example I have of that is there's a skill that makes your grenades contact grenades. So they'll explode on impact. But the most interesting thing about that is it also turns your Piglet grenade launcher into a contact grenade launcher. The Piglet feels really good. Yeah, it feels very low impact if you don't hit direct hits with it, because of the timer on the grenades. But if you have that skill equipped, it's just like explosive mayhem, and that's just a 1-point investment. Really strong.
Pretty good. That's pretty good. There you go. So maybe not the most niche skill, but there's a couple of ideas for you there as to how things are a bit different with skills. I should just point out, asking Walnut, because he's got the very cool members badge. It's a nice little golden Dallas mask, so I like that a lot. I just changed those today. I was like, let's make something more Payday themed. So if you become a channel member, you can get a Dallas mask next to your face. How very cool. But he's asked how are the loot bag values versus all difficulties now? Are the loot bags worth about the same? So I guess he means, like, you know, the progression in value between difficulties, right? Did you really take that on board? Because I was so focused on playing the game, I didn't really look at the value of the money.
It's tough because the accounts we played on had so much money.
We had I think like my Payday 2 account levels of money. It was mad.
Yeah, so it was difficult to really pay that much attention to the rewards I found. Obviously there is scaling rewards. The thing I thought was interesting, I didn't get much of a chance to do this. Did you notice the difference that additional bags made at all?
No.
Especially with like Art Gallery, where there was like 30 bags, I'm pretty sure you could grab.
Well, I tried to secure one and alerted the whole place, as we know. So let's not go there.
We had a great time on Art Gallery. We were just both playing different games.
We were basically.
You were playing like some sort of civilian control simulator, and I was actually playing Payday 3.
Yeah. I tried to secure one bag, and then a civilian saw me. So then I tied up that civilian, and then another civilian saw me. I tied up that civilian, and it basically was almost like a breadcrumb trail, and it wound up going right the way around to a giant gathering of civilians, and then I basically just started killing all of them, and it still didn't solve the problem. But even then, you get like all the people who, like the civilian casualties now deal you damage to your income at the end of the heist. It's not like a cleaner cost thing; it's a percentage thing. So the more civilians you use, the greater percentage. The more civilians you kill, the greater percentage of money you lose at the end of the heist, and it comes to like a max of 70%, which is insane. So
yeah, that's way more impactful, but it's interesting. That does mean you can go absolutely hog wild and then just restart.
Yeah, you can. And, we got our donation stream. Very cool. Thank you very much, Penguin, with the $5. Will there be certain decreases in difficulty depending on the amount of players, i.e. amount of cameras, guards, etc.? I don't know if you got a better answer for this, but the one thing I would point out is with the die packs, playing on your own, like, you still have the same number of die packs on the money, and you physically can't defuse them all on your own at time. So that would suggest to me that it doesn't scale based on players. Have you got anything to say contrary to that, or?
Yeah, I don't think difficulty is hugely adjusted. I'm pretty sure it's, if you play with AI, like the same number of cops can spawn as if you played with other people online, which is the same as in Payday 2, but actually if you play without AI in Payday 2, like true single player, fewer cops spawn. So that might be bad, but we didn't have a chance to do that. In fact, you might have to play with AI, I'm not sure. I think that solo will be harder. Yeah. I do think that co-op is being heavily encouraged. But I think solo players might be fond of that, because solo players tend to be out for the challenge in the first place.
Exactly.
So it might be a good thing in the end. I think that my working theory is that a 3+1 strategy will be the best way to play.
Yeah, you've really been like kind of backing that up, and from what you've told me, it does sound like like a better way to run it.
It's just the fact that you run out of resources, whereas the AI will never run out of resources, right? He'll keep placing another bag of whatever you need.
So they like can place infinite like ammo bags or doctor bags or something. Is that what you're saying?
Between assaults, yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, that seemed to be the way it worked.
That was the thing I missed out on, because the only loud I played was in a 4-man squad, so I didn't see like what the AI capabilities were like loud, so I missed out on that.
It's clearly an equation as well, where they'll go, oh, what do you not have a lot of? You don't have any ammo. Here, have an ammo bag, or you're low on armor or health. They'll make the decision based on what you're struggling for.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Yeah. So, look, the thing you're gonna realize from watching, if you haven't already seen Noli's video, if you haven't already seen how Payday 3 blew him, if you haven't already seen my video where I spent 46 minutes just raving about the game in front of a camera, you're gonna start getting the impression from this live stream that Payday 3 is good. And I also should say, because a couple of people popped this in the chat and Noli briefly mentioned it earlier, I know there's probably some people out here who are a bit concerned about have you been paid to give a certain opinion, so I just want to clarify in case anyone is doubting. Yes, Starbreeze paid to fly us out to Sweden. Yes, they covered flights and accommodation, but no, at any point did they didn't say at any point that would impact our opinion. They paid for us purely so it was easier for us to get out there and try the game. They still wanted our opinions to be completely natural. It's just because the game is so bloody good that everyone's being so positive about it. So please don't think we've been paid in case anyone's worried about that. Like, paid to give a certain opinion. The game just generally is that fun.
And I understand it, right? Like, it's a sudden wave of positivity after what was a huge wave of negativity after 237. So it makes sense. But
what's 237, guys? What happened there?
Talking about, like, totally, as, like, objectively as possible, we had an amazing time with the game. I'm sure because the game is good, but we also had an amazing time with the game because we were at the Starbreeze offices. It was exciting. We were surrounded by other people with similar interests. So, you know, different people's mileage might vary, but I would say that the press outlets are loving it as well.
They really are, yeah.
They weren't necessarily Payday fans.
Yeah. So
I'm glad that they've backed up. We weren't just full-on rose-tinted glasses mode because I was finally playing with Mario in a top hat. It was... There was actually some critical thinking going on.
I mean, hey, you know, like, you know, if IGN are so busy getting their own gameplay when they shouldn't have done, maybe that's just because they were so absorbed they wanted to record what they were doing, you know? That's my attempt to spin them screwing up, in case you didn't realise, although you can't really spin that. Got a couple more donations. Thank you to everyone who's donating. It really does make a difference. I appreciate it greatly. Kazakh with the $5 Canadian, is that? Well, hang on, it says CA. Oh yeah, Canadian dollar, yeah, it must be. How would you compare Payday 3's Overkill difficulty to Payday 2's original One Down difficulty? Is it easier or harder? Well, I mean, you told me there was an AK that was particularly overpowered in our build, so it may be harder to judge based on that, but...
yeah, I was OP as hell, but we were still struggling, right?
Yeah, but the problem also with comparing it in... you're obviously not asking us to compare it in such a strict way, but the problem with doing that is that the nature of the highest difficulties is very different comparing One Down to Overkill in the new game, because One Down was very much a case of, look, clearly the cops can take a lot of bullets and clearly you can take a lot of them, so we're just going to increase the numbers and see if you find it challenging now. Like, that obviously wasn't as basic as it was, but that's how it comes across now looking back. That was the idea behind One Down, just to make it even more challenging, and oh, you died a bit less because you just go into custody. Whereas Overkill difficulty now, enemy health is the same across all difficulties, which, by the way, is still one of my favorite things about the whole build. And I love that I found it out because I was just beating up a cop with a melee weapon, and I was like, we're on normal difficulty and he's not dying. Why is this happening? And they're like, he's got the same health as on Overkill, and I literally looked at the def and went, you're kidding me. So the very nature of the difficulties is very different, so it's hard to compare. I would probably say One Down is harder purely because of just the challenge of the health. But I think Overkill in Payday 3 will present its own challenges in the way the AI become harder to work around, harder to fight, because they're just more intelligent and will play smarter against you. What do the Cloakers say? Work smarter, not harder. That's what the AI are going to do in this. So, you gotta keep
I think it's very difficult to make that specific comparison because they're difficult for very different reasons. I mean, downs are more important though. Again, in Payday 3, because you can't bring them all back in one go. You actually need a skill to even reset your downs with the medic bag, and it only goes up one at a time. So there is more of that hardcore feel that you had with original One Down. They're probably comparable in terms of overall difficulty if we had a way to actually scientifically level the playing field. but they're just hard for different reasons. I would say actually a better comparison would be release Payday 2's Overkill, except even that one falls short because now in Payday 3 we have way more tools, which means that the cops have way more tools to deal with us as well. But it is more that simplified difficulty in a sense, where things are hard,
100%.
Not because there's big numbers, not because there's lots of enemies coming at you, but it's just innately hard. Things are designed to be difficult.
It's challenging for the nature of the enemy and not challenging for the size of like people's like health bars and that kind of thing, which is great. We've got donations coming in so fast we can't even answer the questions. This is crazy. Thank you guys, really. I really do appreciate it. It means a lot. Were there lip sync on the player models or NPCs, and do you know if multiple day jobs or escapes are returning? That comes from Lucas, who donated 50 Swedish krona. He's on their home turf. Look at that. So lip sync on player models. I think there was lip sync on the guards, wasn't there? And it looked quite good to me.
Yeah, there was.
It's not Life is Strange bad, so you're fine. Like, don't worry about it.
I don't think it was ultra consistent, but there's a lot of voice lines missing. So sometimes I think I'd see lips moving with nothing coming out.
Yeah.
But yeah, that seemed to be the case. But in the heat of battle, it wasn't always the easiest. And obviously, when you mask up, you can't see your allies at all, whether they're speaking.
Yeah, it does make it challenging. It does. And let's just slip through the other donation, which is Flight, who... Do you have any idea what that currency is? Because I don't know what that is. SAR?
Is it SAR...
I don't know what that is.
South African something, maybe?
Could be. In fact, you know what? I literally could just Google it. I don't want to get the currency wrong and then look like an idiot. What is SAR currency? Someone in the chat probably say it quicker. Saudi Arabia, apparently.
Saudi Arabia.
There you go. So 10 of, what's the actual name? Saudi Rial, apparently, or Rial. I don't know how you say it. But 10 of those. Thank you very much, Flight. Sorry, it took me a second to get round to that. Has said, what do we know about the new contractor Shade? Very little, other than she's good. I like her voice performance. So, I mean, who was it Pippa? Who was it in the Overkill in the Starbucks office who was saying they thought it was Laura Bailey? And I immediately shut it down. I was like, no, I know Laura Bailey. It's not.
It was one of the Rusty Chains guys, I think. It was.
That was it. Yeah.
Yeah. Her voice is really recognizable. I don't know if you heard me yesterday say she reminds me of Angel from Borderlands.
Yeah. I don't have the experience Borderlands, so I can't quite compare that. But yeah, she's got quite a recognizable voice. Like she sounds.
I'm not sure if she is. It's just, and she's also playing a similar sort of role, I guess. We don't know much about her. Or any other character really right now. She takes things pretty seriously. She gets very angry and frustrated when things go wrong. I think it was maybe Mario mentioned like she seems less experienced, which I totally get. Like she does, which I actually think is quite endearing. But she definitely is coming from the same place Bane is. You know, Bane has these lines in First World Bank where he's like he's fixing everyone's mortgage rate to be really positive. He hates the establishment. I got that impression from her as well, especially in the art gallery.
Yeah.
She takes no prisoners kind of character.
Yeah. There you go. So yeah, the thing is, I don't know how much they'll share about her ahead of time. I don't even believe there is an episode of the Dev Diaries on characters. We may not know much till the game comes out, and even then we may not know much. Bane was quite a mysterious character when we first heard him. In fact, we didn't know much really for a long time. So it could be that she stays quite mystical. Maybe we'll know more soon. I don't know. But thank you for the donation. I think, because I don't feel we're answering questions very quickly, what I'm going to do is kind of like barrel through a couple quickly. And do you want to see if you can find another meaty one that you can give a big answer to? Because you've been quite good at thinking of the big long answers. Do you want to see if you can spot something? How well can you read the chat? You said you were struggling, didn't you?
I can't read the chat.
Can you get the link like to a separate window on your monitor to bring it up, maybe?
Yes, I can. But then I will go very bright. But that's fine.
That's fine. You just flashbang yourself for a second. Okay, let me barrel through a couple while Nelly does that. So, Vinyl with the $2 donation first off. Thank you very much. Again, greatly appreciated. Is the game online only? We don't have confirmation yet. With it being crossplay on, like, needing a Starbreeze Nebula account just to get in, like, there's going to be probably a necessity for you to be online only. So, I'm going to assume that's the case. But I also don't know if there'll be a way to log on yet without connecting and just play offline. They haven't confirmed it. So, I'd say assume yes. And then if they turn out that it's not online only, we'll all be quite happy. So we will see. Let's pick a couple that are quick to barrel through.
Yeah, I've got a quick one that I've picked up. They're all quick ones. So can you do stealth takedown in casing mode? No. You have to mask up to do anything violent, which is probably a good thing. I think otherwise you could just clear the whole house in casing mode. Can you reload overkill weapons with ammo bags? No, you can't do that either. They are intended to be a timed resource functionally, and when they're gone, they're gone. But you can. I do think this is something they might want to think about rebalancing. You can earn your next overkill weapon using your last overkill weapon. So you can kind of chain them into each other because the overkill weapon seems to be earned off kills. And you're going to get a lot of kills with
it's based purely on kills. It doesn't charge up over time. That's why it never shows up in stealth. Like, you only earn overkill weapon progress via kills. So if you get a lot of kills, you get it back faster. Bessie with $2 have you mentioned anything about modding? I don't want to go into big promo mode, but I did ask Almir about this, so if you want to get a bit of an idea as to how much they can say, which I'll be real with you, is not tons right now, then he does mention it in our interview, which goes out on Friday afternoon, 2 p.m. UK time, same as the rest of the other times. So keep an eye out for that Almir interview on Friday. If you didn't know I interviewed Almir, then yeah, it's pretty mental, and I'm excited to get it out, but you'll find out more then. It will be tons of answers, and I am planning on doing a video explaining my thoughts on modding. I've spoke to a couple of modders to get their perspective about Unreal modding, so I'll have a video out on that hopefully next week, so we can explore a bit more then. Also, Gianluca Cardamone, I hope I'm saying that right. Do you know if any other voice actors other than Wolf have changed? No. Damien is still Chains, Simon is still Dallas, and Pete Gold is still Hoxton. It's just Nicholas Berglund who is the new Wolf.
I guess we don't know about side characters.
So, yeah.
But Bile sounded like Bile, I'll tell you that.
Bile's still Bile. And Twitch. Is Twitch still Twitch?
I didn't hear Twitch.
Yeah, I don't remember hearing Twitch. I was hoping you.
I think we're just assuming it's Twitch.
Yeah.
But you know, Gage is back. Maybe Gage will have his. That's a funny one. I'd be surprised, but he might have his old voice actor.
Is someone gonna go up to him in his office again and tell him that he shoots blanks and then really make him upset? Because I just remember Mario Top making a meme out of that, and he was like, "That is just low," and he just put like an emoji sad face over him, and I was like, "Oh." Should feel bad for Gage. Although it does mean potentially you might finally get the Gage ass pack, you know, if he's coming back. Maybe we'll finally get that infamous DLC. I'm just saying, I think 2025 is going to be a great year. I think it is. Chad with the Twitch follow, thank you very much. By the way, we are still planning on looking at the B-rolls at some point, but I think because we've got so many questions, we're just going to focus on those for the time being.
Mario said something about Gage not having a leg to stand on or something. I was like,
oh, mate.
It's a very hip
let me explain that for you, chat, in case you didn't realise Gage is in a wheelchair. Okay, so moving on. Can Payday 3 be played solo? Yes, it can. We don't know if it's offline, but you can play a lobby on your own with 3 AI. It may just be permanently online. As I've said before, if it is all online only, you can do private matches, all I hope is that you can pause the game. Because I just remember when Black Ops Cold War came out originally, and you could do like zombies matches on your own, but when it first launched in a private match, you couldn't pause a private match. Or could no, you could. It must have been the game before. I remember there was one where you couldn't pause in a private match, and then they added it like a week later. So as long as you can pause it, even if it's online only, I'm quite happy with that. I mean, most things are like, oh, you need to have an internet connection now. I don't really like games forcing internet connection when you don't need it. Like Hitman does that. I'm not a big fan of it. You needing internet connection for Hitman. But like a game that needs crossplay like Payday, it's a different story, right? So it's hard to know. But you can play solo. See, like I said, it was going to be a quick answer, and I still barreled off into a bunch of other things. What else have we got?
There's so much, right?
There's so many questions. Like, how? If you were to guess, what percentage of questions do you think yesterday you actually answered out of your chat?
Oh, like 10 to 20. Although a lot of people were asking the same question. So
yeah. There are a couple people who are spamming their questions a little bit. Like I said, just bear in mind if your question's still in the live chat on the stream, don't put it in again. We're trying to get through them. We're going to try and speed things up because we're, a bit slow. We're just trying to give you the best answers.
I've seen a couple about like sort of jokers and guards and things. Can you dominate guards in stealth? Yes, you can. It's a skill.
Interesting.
What if you drop them when they're human shields? They'll not be cable tied, and you'll have to tie them back up again, basically, or pick them up again.
There you go.
And also jokers. How do you feel about jokers being gone?
Yeah, they are completely gone. Do you know? I'm of two minds about it because like jokers were useful, but also like they were borderline Inspire level way. Like some really good builds was like you should bring jokers to stand a better chance.
Oh, no, they are mandatory on some builds. You'd be silly not to bring them. I'm really glad they're gone. I think jokers are really,
I was going to say I'm glad. I mean, just from a narrative standpoint, like we may have different opinions on this, but I personally, as much as I love Payday 2, I'm not a fan of how kind of much it lost its serious edge towards the end. but there are things that were in Payday 2 from the beginning that didn't feel quite grounded. And the idea of taking a cop hostage and suddenly he'll just go, yeah, I'll kill all my colleagues for you. Like, I get the idea behind it, but it never really made sense to me. I always found it a bit odd. So it not being in the game at all in Payday 3, I honestly, like, I'm quite happy. I will sleep very soundly at night. So.
Yeah, I'd go as far to say that Joker skills are like silencer skills were a few years back in Payday 2.
Yeah.
They're way too strong, and because the AI is weaker in Payday 2 as well, like it's not as advanced. Having more bodies to distract
in Payday 2. What do you mean? Come on.
Having more bodies to distract them is, also ultra powerful. So maybe Jokers would be weaker in Payday 3, but I don't think you need them. Just use them as body shields. They're better that way.
Yeah. So I think it's just. June, you're gonna say something and your mind completely wipes. I'm just gonna say I agree and just move on because I don't remember what I was gonna. I literally forgot what I was gonna say halfway through. Drick Stanley with the $2. Do our AI still sit outside doing nothing in casing mode? Yes, they still do absolutely nothing. You may have played Crime Boss and gone, AI helping us. That's another $1 for the Crime Boss jar. But no, they don't do that in Payday 3, which is fine. Like, I feel like solo stealth runs are just going to feel a bit the same in the looting.
Yeah, I find them very frustrating in Crime Boss. I find sometimes I'm just like, why am I bothering?
It's more frustrating, like, they'll grab
trying to get them to help me and stuff.
Then they'll just not loot them, and I'm like, what's the point of even picking them up? You're not going to throw them in, So.
Or they'll path really stupidly, or they don't understand what they're doing. I can see why it's been avoided, in stealth at least. They will get a bit more involved in that they'll like walk into the bank and stuff, but they won't try and rob anything, as far as I'm aware.
They'll just chat people up, they'll have like conversation, they won't conversation, but they'll just tag around. Hoxton's playing Game Boy, remember? What else have we got? Did you get any news on upcoming bases? We know nothing about any bases. There's been no official announcement yet. We're hoping that there will be one, but we will see. How many DLCs will be in the Gold Season Pass? That will have 12 DLCs releasing once a month over the course of the year after launch. 4 heists, 4 tail packs, and 4 weapon packs. Here's just a slightly unrelated question that obviously we didn't talk about last time because it was all before a lot of it came out. What do you think they're going to do about free content? Like free heists or free characters or free guns? Like, how much are you expecting compared to the Season Pass?
Maybe like I was about to say an equivalent number. That might be too many, but I looked back actually recently at Payday 2's update cycle, especially super early on in its life. The game was getting updated like every other day. Not necessarily, obviously these were lots of fixes and things.
Yeah.
But there was also content coming. A lot of that content was like maybe meant to be ready for launch. We got Diamond Store really quickly, for example, for free. We got things like the Kawaii mask and
that was when Payday 2
masks. Yeah, absolute peak. I'd expect the same. I said this on my stream yesterday, that the number of free updates will be directly proportional to how successful the game is. That's just the way these things work. So that's unfortunate. We can't really predict it, but I'm positive I think the game will be a success, and I'm positive there will be free updates as a result.
Exactly, because there's assumptions being made right now that I'm seeing a lot of comments, people saying, oh, you spend £40 to get the base game, and then you're spending more than that to get the season pass. That was a concern I had. But like even I'd forgotten for a little bit, there probably will be a good chunk of free updates in between. It won't be that you buy the base game and if you decide not to buy the season pass, you're never going to get anything free. I mean, like I would hope they'll do what they did with Payday 2, where some characters are free, some are DLC, some guns are free, some are DLC, some heists are free, some are DLC. The question will purely be how they strike that balance up. Because if there is a DLC coming out every month, that's more frequent than a lot of what Payday 2 did. Because like it was a bit more erratic looking over DLC releases. There wasn't always a complete fixed pattern to it, so that may impact how they release free content. It could be like, every month there's a free update, that like the way there is a DLC update, but maybe the free updates will have smaller things. Like we don't know. So it's hard to predict basically. But yeah, so in terms of Gold Season Pass, we know there's going to be 18 months of post-launch content, but you can only pay right now for anything up to and including the first 12 months. So anything beyond that is not even up for grabs yet. So there'll be more like season passes afterwards and stuff, but hopefully they're easy to understand and navigate, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and no live service game has succeeded without free content.
Exactly. Right. So like, if you just put everything behind a paywall, you may as well just do what Destiny does and re-release the game every year. What? A stealth takedown's always lethal, or can you make a guard surrender in order to do pacifist runs? You can dominate them, as Nolly said. That's a skill that you can get.
I think if you're taking them down, you'd have to like throw them. I'm not sure, because the takedown's an option, right? When you have them as like a body shield. Yeah, so you'd have to throw them and then shout.
And then shout them to like tie them up. Yeah. So it's a bit of a workaround, but it works. So pacifist runs are possible, which is good. And also bear in mind that like with dominating guards now, you can like even if you tie them up again, you could pick them up again and move them around. So it's not a case of once the guard's dominated, they're stuck in that place. You better hope no one sees them. You can pick them up, move them to somewhere you know they're not going to be seen, and keep them as a hostage. Which is just that little thing Payday 2 was missing, I think, in its pacifist runs for stealth. Because if you did dominate a guard, you, like I said, ran that risk of them being in an area where another guard would walk past and see, or a civilian, or something like that. So being able to move them prevents you from having that problem. Man, I love the org. He's saying no live service game has succeeded. Well, Payday 2 proved you wrong there, so there you go, buddy. You were going to say?
Yeah, speaking of that, there's just so many of those little moments that I'm always recounting, and it's funny. We were playing stealth on the bank heist I think it was on Overkill, so it was the hardest variation of it. We were doing pretty well. I was the only one masked up, and I was taking civs into the the manager's office in the bank heist. It's the one where all the documents are, if you guys know from the B-roll. And suddenly my civs got found, and there was a guard in there, and I was like, what the hell? This isn't like Payday 2. And I left, I flew home, and I've been thinking about it ever since, like, what did I do wrong? I've just realised, as we've been talking, it's because I ran in that room. And it's a secure room. And that baited the guard over to me, because he's like, what the hell's going on in there?
Yes.
So yeah, you have to think about where you leave your hostages way more now than you used to.
Because, that's what happened to me with the bank stealth when I did that the first time. Like, a guard walked over to the vault after I had got in there, and I literally was like, why did he spot that? He didn't see anything before. And they were like, should I tell you why that happened, or do you want to find it? I was like, no, I want to know for the sake of the video. It's because you sprinted. The fact that just sprinting in a secure area makes guards like hyper aware to you is like a really interesting and kind of like considerate thing, because it makes sense. In a secure area, you would expect to see someone running around like a headless chicken. Like it's again, it feels a bit more realistic, not annoyingly realistic, but realistic nonetheless. So
my impression is they go on like a search, but it's a mini search where if they go to where you were and there's nothing there, they'll call it a day. Whereas other search, I think they're more persistent.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how it differs, especially between difficulties. But speaking of, that impacts my answer for the next question from Pro Fox. The €2 who said, did you see any Cloakers hide or ambush you? Unfortunately, you're the only one who can answer this question, because as I've said in my video, I saw 2 Cloakers, and I headshot both of them as soon as I saw them. I honestly expected to get killed, but apparently I had the big iron on my hip and didn't have a problem there. And I can't even say that it's because it was, they were weak health, because they've all got the same health on difficulties. So did you see any hidden Cloakers?
So I'm not sure they specifically. I feel like they've always got something to do, so I'm not sure they hide now. I've seen them enter. I've seen them enter the map. They enter through vents and stuff like they used to. I'm pretty sure they climb up walls and things. They've got all sorts of weird cloaker movements. I don't know whether they hide. I wouldn't be surprised if they did, especially when there's like so many little alleyways on the bank heist. But we had real problems with the cloakers. I would say they, next to maybe the bulldozers, were the most problematic enemy type. We went down on Overkill. They are relatively plentiful, and we went down quite a lot to them. And I actually found use for that disengage skill that lets you like force them off you one time. Genuinely, it was useful specifically for dealing with cloakers. So they are a problem. They don't need to hide to ambush you anymore. They are very fast. They come out of nowhere, and they're always busy. So I don't think if they were hiding, they wouldn't be going after your equipment and trying to pour acid on it.
That's true.
I noticed you say you just popped them both. They have insane headshot multipliers like they do in Payday 2.
Exactly, it was only because I landed the headshots. I literally just happened to look at one, and it was surprising as well, because I was using an Xbox 360 controller. Like, I asked in the office, I was like, has anyone got a controller to hand for me to use? Because, like, the last time, if you watch me on Twitch, you'll know the last time I played mouse and keyboard was Payday the Heist a couple of weeks ago, and I knocked a drink over and nearly destroyed both of my consoles under my desk. So it didn't go well. So I wanted a controller, and they were like, someone had a spare controller in the office, can't remember his name, but thank you to whoever it was who lended it, but it was an Xbox 360 one, so I was surprised I did anything well with that, because that controller feels way more antiquated now, I feel like.
I love the 360 controller.
I prefer the Xbox One. I don't know if that's a hot take, but I think the nicest looking controller is definitely, just conveniently have it here, it's definitely the PS5. That's probably my favourite controller of all time visually. But I've always felt like Xbox controllers are nicer to hold, because PS5s, my fingers don't even fit the way around the handles, so I don't know. I do just want to slide into something very quickly, though, because Drick has just donated another $5, and also Ice2K has something similar. So let's just deal with Drick's first, saying, Gold Edition question, do you think we will get a good amount of Payday credits as well, too? We don't know what's going on with credits, so we can't make any kind of predictions there. It would make sense, maybe, for them to be bundled in with the Season Pass, but we don't know that at present. So assume not. Just in case there's nothing in there, because they may throw a couple in as like a goodwill token, but who knows. If any DLCs come out in the future, we'll automatically have them. You'll have them for as far as your pass takes you. The Silver Season Pass takes you for the first 6 months, so the first 6 DLC packs, 2 heists, 2 tail packs, 2 weapon packs. If you get the gold, 12 months worth, 4 of each of those things. If anything releases after those points, though, you'll have to pay for those with new season passes or with, you know, whatever else may be. But the question I think I'd be interested to hear both of our thoughts on is Ice2K saying, is the more expensive pre-order version of the game or pre-order versions worth the money? What would your take be on that?
I can't have a take on that. Come on.
I've got one if you want to hear mine.
Like, I have purchased like basically everything Payday related for the past 10 years because I've always made content on it. So my entire idea of value is completely. I could neither recommend or suggest not to buy anything Payday related. It's all I do is try and give like the objective facts.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't generally advise or whatever. I say, you know, this is amazing heist DLC, play it, but that doesn't necessarily mean buy it. That's one of the beautiful things about Payday 2 is you don't have to buy them to play.
Exactly. Yeah. So here's my take, and this is kind of like an objective thing as well. I am not a big fan of pre-ordering things. I kind of touched on this in my video yesterday. I'm not a big fan of pre-ordering games like 6 months ahead of time. There's that occasional feeling where you're like, I know for a fact I'm going to buy this game anyway. I'll pay for it now and have to worry about it at release, and that's like a separate thing. But for me personally, especially with multiplayer games, things like that, I don't see a great deal of point pre-ordering something until it's very close to release, and either you've played a beta to get a taste of it, or you've seen reviews. I don't personally believe it's worth doing. With Payday 3 as a base game, as I've said already now, based on what we've played, if you say to me, I'm pre-ordering the base game, I'd go, do you know what, I don't blame you. Like, can I recommend it based on what I've played? I really can. Bear in mind, we haven't played the full game, we haven't had hours and hours and hours with it, but it's got a lot of promise, so I don't blame people buying the base game. My problem with buying the Silver or Gold Edition, for some people I would argue, is that you have to bear in mind you're buying something you're not going to have when the game comes out. And we don't really know what the Season Pass content will look like until we get it. It could be that you get some tail packs in there that are absolutely phenomenal. But you could get some Payday 2 tail pack 2s in there. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to roast it, but that one, like, especially when they introduced tail packs, the first tail pack was brilliant. The second one, with, like, the hippie outfits, felt like...
You don't like the MrWombat?
No. I thought that pack was such a downgrade from the first one. We had, like, the Joker and all sorts of stuff, and then it was like, yes, so we got hippie outfits. Nah. I've loved some tail packs, I think some are weaker. So the problem is you don't know what you're going to get when you pre-order those. If you're someone who's going to go, do you know what, I want all the DLC, I'm going to want to have the full Payday experience, then fine, more power to you. I personally am currently trying to contemplate whether or not I should buy the Collector's Edition, because I'm kind of like, I like the look of it, the deck of cards in particular, which shouldn't be enough to warrant the price tag, but I love the look of the deck of cards, which is one thing. But in the UK, you can pre-order the Collector's Edition and not pay a penny till just before the game comes out. So, like, I can put a pre-order down and be kind of worry-free. So all I will say is, for one thing, don't have a go at anyone if they do pre-order and say they're getting ahead of the game. But also don't have a go at anyone if they say they don't want to pre-order till close to the time. I think it's down for you to make your own decision, but bear in mind that you should make your purchase based on what you've seen. Don't make assumptions that you may possibly get proven wrong. And that's the end of my TED Talk. Thanks for listening. It kind of went off the rails a little bit there. It was a big, long thing. But yeah, there you go. Also, Wraith303, the £2. Thank you very much. Jokers will not be back in the game at all, from the look of it. That could always change post-launch, but at present, there were no Jokers there. So there we go.
There's a question aimed directly at me, so I just thought I'll quickly...
Oh, alright, I'll have a rest.
No, I mean, there's not that much I can say about it, because it's asking if the Payday 2 to Payday 3 evolution is like Borderlands 2 to Borderlands 3.
Okay.
I'd say there are lots of... It's not got the super cringe dialogue, at least as far as what we've played.
You're talking to a Life is Strange fan, so don't ask me about cringe dialogue.
That's the big downgrade from Borderlands 2 to Borderlands 3.
Okay.
But I would say, yeah, gameplay-wise, it's got some of those similarities in terms of how things flow better and everything just feels good, right? It feels good to shoot whatever weapon you're wielding. But I enjoyed Payday. Oh, Borderlands 2 as well. I enjoyed Payday 2 as well.
You like Payday? No way. I don't believe that.
But it ain't Payday.
I think you're lying to me. I think Payday 3 was so busy blowing. I've got to stop making that joke. What have we got? Does Payday 3 feel more like Payday the Heist or Payday 2 in terms of feel and difficulty? Somewhere in between. I don't know. Like, Payday 3 to me feels like a definitive combination of the things that made Payday the Heist and Payday 2 good. Payday the Heist has things where you unlock your attachments as you level up and upgrade your guns from playing more of the game. Also, you've got a weapon slot specifically for pistols. Payday 3's got both of those things. Whereas Payday 3 has 2 core weapon slots, like Payday 2. The movement feels a bit more like Payday 2 with extra bolts on. Like, there are features from both, I feel like, that have been tied together to make a more definitive game, personally. So in terms of feel, I'd say somewhere between. Difficulty, though, what would you say for difficulty? Maybe Payday the Heist, maybe just purely because there's less difficulties and there's more of a scale there, I feel like.
Yeah, probably. Those two things are more comparable. I wouldn't even try and compare it with like modern day Death Sentence because
I haven't played modern day Death Sentence properly in like 3 or 4 years now, so I couldn't say anything about that.
It's just like playing a different game, isn't it? Whereas the difficulty is quite consistent in how it scales in Payday 2, or Payday 3, I should say. Very hard was very hard. Like we had a tough time with that difficulty, and it was hard in a lot of the ways that Overkill was hard, right? Whereas Death Wish, some people find Death Wish difficult, but it's very different in how it's difficult to Death Sentence.
Yeah, I mean, I know I personally struggle a bit with Death Wish. It's so funny because I used to be good at those difficulties. As I said to you, I had my prime, and then I fell off it, and I've never quite claimed it back.
It's not just that though. This was the thing that I was emphasizing when we were in Stockholm. In Payday 2, so much of the heist is won before you go on the heist, when you set up your build. Whereas there's just so much more adaptability in Payday 3. And even if you've got the perfect build, if you're not the right pilot on that build, you're going to really struggle. Whereas you went into a heist with absolutely no skills, and you felt the difference.
Yep.
But you could still function because you had that experience with the game.
100%. Yeah, we went to do the next heist and someone triggered it. Can't remember who it was, but someone picked the heist immediately. And I was like, oh, I'm not ready, I haven't picked the right guns. And I also realised later I hadn't picked some skills because with the loadouts now, you have like profiles from Payday 2. They're back in Payday 3, but they're just called loadouts now to make them simpler. But the silly mechanic in Payday 2 where it was like, oh, you can have skill build 3 equipped on profile 4 and skill treats 10 equipped on profile 5. That was always a bit confusing. In this one, you literally have a loadout and there's a skill tree tied to that loadout. You change loadout, there's a skill tree associated with it, and you pick that, and it's less confusing. So I switched to a new loadout, forgot to do the skill points, and then was like, uh-oh, I've got no skills, and didn't realise it till like half an hour after finishing the heist. I was like, oh, that's why it was more challenging than the bank. I was so confused. But yeah, so some very, very... some interesting scaling, basically. Like, you can still play normal without skills. That's what I've said to people who've kind of... Because a few people have blown a gasket over the whole unlocking attachments thing. Like, bear in mind, not having access to the attachments at the start of Payday 3 doesn't make you underpowered. You know, they give you little extra edges as you go along from playing more of the game, but you can still walk in at level 0 with no attachments on your guns on normal difficulty and have a blast and work up from there. So, don't be worried about some game mechanics changing before you even have to try them, basically, is what I would say.
I mean, it's not just that, right? Like, I used an unmodified weapon. I used the unmodified AK, and then I used the heavily modified AK, and I have to admit, I preferred the heavily modified one.
Yeah.
But that was just because my playstyle was more geared to that. The actual other AK, I believe, had faster fire rate. It was a little bit harder to control. As a result of that, it might have had higher DPS, obviously. So it's immediate trade-offs. You might really like the way the naked AK feels, like the base AK. That might be your favorite weapon in the game.
If it's anything like our build, it certainly would be a lot of people's favorites.
Yeah. But you might also really like a heavily customized one. I used a sniper, like a preset sniper, that I absolutely hated. And I'm pretty sure the preset was like reducing the fire rate on it. So I'd much prefer the non-preset version, the one with different attachments. So it's player choice, and that's what they're all about with the weapon system. I think
you won't be like underpowered for not having the attachments available at the start. Like, I think in a lot of ways it works better. Because it also, I feel like, when it comes to the case of unlocking DLC weapons, I think it will also be nice that, presuming it'll work the same way, you'll buy the DLC, but you'll also spend some time using them to, like, customize them, rather than in Payday 2, where, well, I mean, for us, you know, we get the code, and it's like, oh, let's make a video on it, we can put the attachments on immediately and have a fiddle around, and a lot of the fun of experimenting is gone quite quickly, because we already can experiment and know what works and what doesn't, whereas in Payday 3, you can enjoy getting used to the gun, trying new things as you're leveling it up. It kind of adds a bit more to the replayability, I think, because you can try things more out over a period of time rather than just going, right, I'll try this gun on this heist with these attachments and then try this version on the next one. You know what I mean? Like when the minigun's added, you was like, oh, I'll try the one with the long barrel and I'll try the one with the short because everyone was available. But if you earn that stuff, you can be a bit more flexible as you go along, I feel like.
I'm positive there'll be sometimes you'll just be absolutely adoring a weapon. You'll put an attachment on it, it's like I've earned it.
Yeah, and you may also put one on and go, I have seen the face of God. Like it could go either way. You know what I mean? It could go either way. So I am excited for what could happen here. I've literally got like 50 million emails. I'm flicking away on my phone. I need to just stop looking. Things keep popping up and they keep catching my eye. Was the sniper one body shot kill on us or on them? Because that's two different things.
The sniper, depending which sniper you talk about, the sniper I used was like a one body shot kill on regular enemies. I think you need a headshot on the higher health specials, or not even a headshot. It could be a, you know, like the grenadier hit him in the chest.
And that's the thing as well about all enemies being the same health, right? Is that like it's going to be geared more towards landing the headshots will actually kill the enemies a bit faster rather than just you have to aim for headshots because 6 of them are needed to kill this person. So I like that. Payday 3 will contain what, Matt? What will it contain? Money? I agree. It will contain money. With no tag decks.
Old claim.
Well, you know what? I have to make these claims sometimes. You know, I don't want to break NDA, but I'm just saying, Payday 3 will have money. With no perk decks or dodge, are there skills that can be used to create armor or health builds with survivability, mainly self-regen related, or are you reliant on equipment? Well, there are the buffs that we've mentioned, Edge, Grit, and Rush, which give you increased damage resistance, increased damage output, and increased movement speed, respectively. And those can be unlocked based on certain behaviors in game. So I think one of the ones I had was if you got a headshot, you got increased movement speed. That was like one skill I had equipped at one point. So while there's no direct dodge, it feels very much as though you will kind of be able to customize the edges of your profile still with these different skills to give you those extra advantages here and there. So
yeah.
You may not have an outright dodge thing, but you'll have things that feel like you can move around a bit faster. And let's face it, if you're running from point A to point B with a faster character, you're going to get hit by less bullets anyway because you're going to spend less time in the line of fire. So that will feel a little bit like you got a little bit of dodge because you're spending less time being shot at. So there are trade-offs here that kind of work hand in hand. You can't go full dodge.
And you're dealing with much like truer cop accuracy.
Yeah.
Where movement speed will make them just miss more because they're trying to track you. I would say movement speed will be the new dodge build. But in terms of like regen, there are health and armor regen skills. They're pretty few and far between, and they're generally like second-hand. So there are hostage-focused skills that are based around trading hostages for more resources, which will get you more health packs, which is a form of regen. Or there's skills where if you pick up enemies' ammo, I believe, within a certain period of time after killing them, you'll get more of that regenerating section of your armor back.
Almost feels a little bit like Gambler, that, doesn't it? Wasn't it the Gambler perk deck where when you pick up ammo, you get health?
Oh, there's loads of inspirations you can see. Loads
that's the thing, isn't it? It's not just from like the Revival era of Payday 2. There are like elements from Payday 2 that have been taken and adapted and made into new things in Payday 3. So even if things look or sound as though they're completely different from Payday 2, they won't feel like it because you will notice things like that are suddenly like, oh, this was pulled from that. That's kind of cool.
It's like Yakuza, for example, was never planned as a stealth perk deck. It was always planned as a loud perk deck because Starbreeze at the time never really thought about how you're going to get damaged in stealth. So this was just a happy accident. But then Payday 3 has been designed with that in mind and gone, wow, actually movement speed is a really big skill in stealth.
Yeah.
Let's let people do these sort of rush builds in stealth and go quickly. So like, inspired by an accidental design decision from Payday 2. So there's still some Yakuza-like traits.
Remember, there are no mistakes, only happy accidents, ladies and gentlemen. Wasn't that what Ugoy said? Terminator with the $5 New Zealand dollars said, great content, especially the Payday 2 on 360 videos. Thank you. How old even are they now? I probably sound so different in those, which is crazy to think. Did they keep the OG voice actors for returning specials? We talked about this a bit earlier with the bulldozer. We're not entirely sure which voice actors have stayed and which ones haven't. Did Simon Viklund voice some of the enemies? I swear he did.
Or was he Cloaker?
The Cloaker, yeah. So he won't be the Cloaker in Payday 3. You can assume that right off the bat. Unless he is, and that's like a really cool Easter egg. They just hooked him up and were like, do you want to do the Cloaker for a laugh again? But I doubt it.
I do believe it was a different voice.
Yeah. Because, I mean, he
Similar
literally said...
style.
Yeah, he said he was done with like, Bane. Like, he literally said, when I did the interview with him, he was like, I'm glad to leave Bane behind. You know, I've enjoyed it, but also I never wanted to be Bane to begin with, so I'm not exactly sad to leave him behind. So, I wouldn't expect him to do much in the way of voice acting again. The guy's a music guy, and we all know that he's good at that, so he probably wants to stick to that now. But thank you for the donation, I appreciate it. Let's try and barrel through a couple more. Nereid Snipers back, yes they are. How much do ace skills cost? 1 skill point. So you have 21 points, 1 for basic, 1 for ace, but only about a sixth of the skills available can be aced. You have like rows basically where you can pick your skills, but only the base skill can be aced. Everything else is just you have the skill or you don't. So
yeah, 16 of the skills can be aced. So the first
there's
one. There's
16 rows.
There are 16 trees, yeah.
Yeah, because that's what I was wondering. I was trying to remember how many different rows. I was going to say 21, but I was like, no, that's the number of skill points, and I kept getting confused between the two of them. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I got the impression that maybe the plan was to be able to make ace skills for everything, and then they decided against it, and they just left the first part in.
I quite like it as it is.
About
I don't know. Because I feel like if you got too many ace skills, it becomes too overcomplicated anyway.
Yeah, and you need way more than 21 skill points.
Too right. Too right.
You can already like pick and choose from, theoretically, from every single skill tree right now. You could take a point, right? So I don't think that'd be a very good build.
No,
but
you try and be a jack of all trades, and as the saying goes, you'd be a master of none.
But that's a more powerful playstyle now. Being like a utility guy who's got some stealth skills, some loud skills, way more powerful than it used to be.
Yeah. Oh, here's a good one. Iced saying, thanks for answering my last question. Do you guys know anything about other heists that will be on in the game at launch? We do. Whether Noli remembers or not, I don't know. He probably does. He's got a memory like a blooming sponge. I nearly said Civ, and I was like, that's the wrong direction. But if you all remember, in 2021, we had a concept art that was offered to us that showed us the Golden Shark Incorporated Bank. And also, if you look on Payday 3's pre-order page, there is a screenshot of Dallas in the Golden Shark Bank vault because the logo is literally clearly shown behind him on like a desk or something. I'm pretty sure IGN, for all their faults of using gameplay in the most recent thing, literally had that screenshot in their thumbnail. So we do know, and my little heart is very chuffed at this, that there's going to be another bank heist because the one we've seen that we have played is not the Golden Shark one. It was the what did it stand for? Something Capital Bank? No, it wasn't Super. Secure Capital Bank. I was going to say Super Capital Bank. I was like, that's not right. So there will be at least 2 bank heists. There'll be one more bank heist we haven't played, which is the Golden Shark Incorporated. Beyond that, I know. Have we seen any of the screenshots that tell us anything else? I don't think we have we?
No. I believe those are the only 3 heists we've seen anything about, and I think they've only talked a bit about that one or shown a little bit about that one.
So we basically know nothing about that as well, other than it being a bank. Which
I think it's more like the big bank style.
I hope.
Based off the initial
you know me by now. Like I go nuts over any bank heists. I just love good fun bank heist. So I'm keen to see that one. I'm very keen. Because the thing is, the branch bank we played was a smaller model, and it was still really fun. So if it feels like that, but on a bigger scale with Golden Shark, I can't wait to get my hands on that. I can't wait. Speaking of getting my hands on something, I got my hands on more money thanks to Purple Max for the $5 donation. Thank you very much. Who said, will Payday 3 still have some funny moments like Almir's toast or comically large spoons? We touched on this a bit earlier that I wasn't as big of a fan of the non-grounded stuff. What do you think? Do you think we'll have funny moments like Almir's toast or comically large spoons?
Well, I think the game needs to have a sense of humor. I think you should be having fun when you play the game, right? And that doesn't necessarily mean laughing at big spoons, but that does mean some particularly funny lines in the game, some very quotable lines in the game, some crazy ragdoll animations. Like, those moments of levity are what, especially for a co-op game. It's the same for games like Left 4 Dead, right? Like gritty zombie survival game full of memes.
Yeah.
Coach is hilarious.
Yeah, Coach is brilliant.
So, and that's the core to these games' long-term success. So yeah, I think we will. The game will be a bit grittier. I get that impression. Yeah. At least on launch. And I hope it doesn't turn into a clown fiesta. But there will be funny moments. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think stuff like Almir's Toast, they're fun little community Easter eggs, and you can have stuff like that in where it's like, oh, well, that doesn't ruin the grittiness of it. It's just a piece of toast, and like if people don't even know the meme, won't care. They're the best kinds of Easter eggs where it's like the core fans can go, ha, that's really cool, but like standard players won't even bat an eyelid at it anyway. They might make the joke like some people do, and they go, why is there toast in a deposit box? But it's never that deep beyond that. Whereas like the spoon, I'm gonna go on the record here and just say I don't want the spoon in Payday 3. I'm sorry, but I want some jokes and some funny lines, as you've said, but I think the spoon might be a step too far. It was funny, and it was a great joke in Payday 2, but I don't want to see that in Payday 3. Personally.
Yeah, they option, I think they... Yeah, you can, and they're actually quite good on YouTube.
If I do slash poll, does that do it?
No, it's if you go top right where you can do the Q&A, you can also do poll. Like top right on the control-y thing next to the chat. Exactly the same way you do the Q&A. I can't see it because I don't have the same thing as you do.
I'm gonna try and figure it
out. I think if they wanted to do something like that, there is more room to do that during like an event, an anniversary sort of event. I don't think it would need to stay in the game forever.
There it is.
But yeah. Actually, what you don't know is the first DLC weapon is going to be an Overkill weapon. It's going to be the giant spoon.
It is.
And it's
going
to
right, there you
everyone.
go. There's a poll in the YouTube chat, so let's let everyone put their opinions. Do you want the spoon in Payday 3, or do you think it will be? You can answer it either direction, yes or no. Put your votes in there. Like I said, I'm all down for Payday 3 having its jokes, but I think the spoon would personally be a step too far. But let's see what everyone thinks. Let's see what everyone thinks and go from there. There's still 368 people here. I really appreciate you all being here. I really do. Russian Badger's approaching your location rapidly. I love Russian Badger. He is one of the funniest people out there, and I'm very... I mean, it wasn't even him that started the meme, really. It was Mario for being realistic. It was just in Badger's video. But yeah, like, it's a great meme, but also, you know, everything has its time and everything dies. And I think the spoon...
I think if you look back at older Payday memes, pre-spoon, then we had like the giant toothbrush thing, which was a creature's joke. It was another creator meme or joke. But it's a little easier to put things like that into your game.
Because it's not changing the meta of suddenly running around and going, I've got a spoon that lights people on fire, wow! So,
yeah, the spoon was legitimately incredibly powerful.
Yeah, it was. It really was.
It's 50-50 with almost 200 votes.
Is it actually? I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
Yet. Oh, wow, it is.
Bang on 50-50.
In fact, looking at the bar, it seems, there you go, yeah, it's angling towards yes now. Intriguing. Very, very intriguing. We'll give it another minute and see if we get any more votes. But all I can see is that 100 of you are very annoying. I'm joking. I respect all your opinions. And I get why people would still want the spoon in there. It's just personal preference for me personally. Am I going to hate the game if there's a spoon in there? No. But I'm excited to see it be a bit more grittier and realistic with a couple of jokes still in there. Because you can't.
The toothbrush was, yeah. The toothbrush was a Payday the Heist thing, and it got added back when they added Panic Room.
Yeah, and that was goofy, but it was like passable. You know, it wasn't like carrying the spoon. It was just, oh, there's a giant toothbrush in this bathroom. That's
the joke was that she's one of them during the play session. Were like, look how big that toothbrush is, and it was like a bigger than average toothbrush, but it wasn't that big. Yeah, I think maybe a little homage to it would be better than just bashing.
Yeah, that'd be great. I would be more than happy if, like, you know, if you opened like a deposit box in the Golden Shard Bank and there was a giant spoon poking out of it, you'd be like, who the hell keeps a giant spoon in a vault? And then like Shay could say that and you could move on. That'd be great.
And don't forget, there are no melee weapons in the game right now. So
exactly. So
it would be very jarring if the first one was a big ass spoon.
Which answers Cozy's question. Just said, any info on melee? We know nothing about that. You have gun butts and that's it as of right now.
There are skill interactions, but
yeah. Jude Rat said, did you ask about there being an FOV slider? We didn't have to. There is one. Although max FOV in our build was 90, I think. So
is that not industry standard?
I thought 120 was industry standard. Maybe I'm going
crazy. It felt fine, but I wish it was bigger.
I've ended the poll, by the way. You can see the results there popping up in the chat. Yes, ended with 52%, and no with 47%. Oh, YouTube! That is an OCD nightmare. I'm going to say yes, got 53%, because clearly there was a majority.
It's just rounded down.
Yeah, it's annoying. So yeah, slightly majority for yes there. Interesting. Thank you all for voicing your opinions there. Have you seen any elements of storytelling at all in the build played? Well, I know who needs to answer this question. I'm going to kick my feet up.
So I've been doing my best. but it's very difficult. These two heists on their own are a bit disembodied.
Yeah.
It's difficult to even work out why we're doing them. We know more about characters than we know about the actual narrative of the game. You know, I'm pretty sure that bank heist is designed to be, after whatever the tutorial heists are, designed to be like the first score.
Yeah.
And you're just straight in there. There's no context to it. But that might just be the build we played. There's mention of a character called Beckett. I don't know if you noticed that, Troy. Who is clearly a contact we have, maybe a fence of some sort, maybe an additional contractor.
For the art gallery, yeah. I know I made a really bad joke about it being Beckett from the Han Solo movie, but it was never funny even when I said it. But yeah, there is someone called Beckett, we don't know who they are. But that's the thing, like, even in the black market, like, buying guns and suits, there's, like, different sellers for those. Like, you're buying a suit from one guy, I don't remember the name, or masks from another. Like, there are more names of, like, contacts in New York.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see, like,
Gleam does the mask.
I thought Gleam did giveaways for me, but, you know.
Tatagi, I think, does the C-stack. I did smile.
Yeah, exactly.
Gage does the weapons, and Mr. Someone does the suits.
Yeah, so there's like a few new characters possibly. So hopefully, more implications. And hopefully this time around when we do get them popping up, we don't hear them going, who's going to find out? CrimeNet? Bane? Overkill? You know. I said this to you in person. Like, that was one of the only things in the web series I absolutely hated. Why was it like such an ego stroke moment? I hated that. I hated it. Would it be possible to do stuff such as taking over the bank, like disabling cams and taking out all the guards in the lobby and tying up all civilians with the alarm going off? You're asking, can you do it like Crime Boss? Not quite. You still got your page limits, so you need to be careful with how many guards you take down. And on Overkill, you only have 2 pages. You have 4 on normal and hard, 3 on very hard, 2 on Overkill. So if you're doing Overkill stealth, you basically need to be very careful with guards. I'd imagine there might only be like 2 in the lobby. So maybe if you didn't kill guards or take them down anywhere else, you could take 2 in the lobby, but that also means you wouldn't be able to take down the guard in the camera room, so you still have to be a bit tactical about it. And I do wonder, by the way, because I do occasionally like those heists where you can deal with everyone in the building, but they're nice as, like, you know, like as a bit of a passable thing, but when Payday 3 is going for such in-depth heists, you probably don't want anything like that that's so easily dispatchable.
Yeah, I think you're more likely to see a Scarface Mansion style thing where there's a few targets you can properly hit them. You know, the outskirts of Scarface Mansion, you can clear everyone off the map. Yeah. No pages. It'll be that kind of thing, I don't think. I just think pages are really inherent to how the game is balanced.
It's a problem, isn't it? Because we both said we didn't really want them back, but it feels like they're just kind of too ingrained in Payday's formula to get rid of.
I thought about alternatives, and it's really hard, right? Like, I can't think of a better way, but it isn't my favourite way. But I think if you expand the system as they have so far, it's going to be a much, much better way. The distance pager answering is amazing. The fact you don't necessarily have to answer a pager.
Oh, I can't believe you forgot to even acknowledge that. Yeah, you don't even have to be next to a body to answer the pager. Like, you can look from a distance and answer, like, hack into the radio and answer it. Yeah, it's with a skill.
That's a skill. You need your phone.
That's something you can do. So answering a pager from a distance, if you get that right skill, you can look down a corridor and answer the pager from a body that's, like, that you've shot from a distance, which is great. So if you do have a moment where you take down 2 guards, you try to answer their pagers, answer the one next to you, look over there and just go, boop, answer.
I mean, this is one of those things, this is where co-op seems so important and where, like, the theory crafting goes wild in my head. Like, what happens if you're with a teammate, the teammate takes the guard down, and you start answering the pager for them? Can they then move the body out the way? Like, these kind of interactions sound amazing, and you can sort of, like, work together as a team like that to make much better use of the pager system.
So, speaking of, wait, you have to tie up guards. You don't have to tie them up, you can still kill them if you want to. But if you're taking them as hostages, you will need to tie them up, yeah. How are the animations compared to Payday 2's? So, like any particular animations? I feel like they're a little bit better, but I don't really overanalyze them.
And, like, yeah, so
like
the weapon animations are sensational. Yeah. They're really good. Very impressive. Everything feels clunky the way, not clunky, but weighty. Yeah. The way you, like, reload the AK, the partial reloads, the tactical reloads, those sorts of things, massive advancements. There's a lot of animations that you could say are missing. We use the phone for a lot of things. That's a bit of a catch-all objective doer. Yeah. But I get that. That's fine. I don't think that's necessarily an issue. I think the amount of time that we spent sort of programming in all these animations and not making them buggy as all hell would not be proportionate. But I would personally like to see a revive animation, just some of the basic things that we don't have. More of a bag. Yeah.
Just saying. Yeah, like basically, if you're a Doctor Who fan, the phone is basically like a sonic screwdriver. It's used in a lot of different contexts. I had to slide something in there. There you go. There'll be like 3 people that get that reference, and that will help them understand it better. So I feel like I've made a good choice there. But yeah, so you need to just kind of bear in mind the phone will have a lot of an interaction. And in the build we had, the phone just has like an hourglass icon and nothing happens on it. I've said to the devs, I really do hope they put some kind of animation on the phone, just so it looks like it's doing something rather than just having an image on the screen. But, there's our most...
That was a top priority.
Yeah, well, it wouldn't be top priority, but it'd be nice for like a bit of quality of life, wouldn't it? But Dedicators asked a very important question. What?
Ah. No idea. I'll tell you what, if we do get mods, phone screensavers will be like the #1 category.
Oh my god, that's so true. Oh no. That's gonna become one of the biggest things. That'll be like loading screens, that kind of thing. Like,
what have I done?
You've lit a match there. I'm not gonna lie, I might mention that now when I make a modding video. I might say that you suggested that, yeah. Because that, oh god, oh you're so...
Oh no.
Oh no. Well, there you go. If they don't add an animation, I'll do it myself. He actually did put his proper question in. I've just lost sight of it, but he did put it in. There it is. What's with the reused audio lines? So from what I've heard, they are bringing some lines back, but they have re-recorded them. Is that correct? Like, there's no actual ripped audio lines. If there's something returning, it's been re-recorded.
I mean, how many different ways can you say get down on the ground, you know? There are certain lines that are just like, why would we reinvent the line? Just re-record it with your current voice now. Maybe you'll sound a little bit older. Maybe you'll say the line. If they're not literally reused, I think that's what people think. That they've been ripped from Payday 2. That's not the case.
Yeah, they have. Bear in mind, they've had to do an engine change, and in case you've forgotten what happened when they did Overkill's The Walking Dead and jumped from Valhalla to Unreal, they had to start from the beginning. So, like, things are not easily ported over from Diesel into Unreal Engine. They've done this as a ground-up thing, and that's the same with voice lines. They've re-recorded anything if they have reused it. But there's loads of new lines. Like, just because there might be a couple that are reused doesn't mean that you're going to go in and go, I know 75% of these voice lines. Trust me, you won't. You just won't. What else?
Have you seen the questions about RNG? Have you touched on RNG much? It's interesting.
I haven't touched on it too much, no. I hadn't really thought about it too much. What would you say about it?
Yeah, so RNG is huge in Payday 2. It's very important, especially at launch. It was like their sort of flagship system.
Well, there you go.
It was a good system, don't get me wrong. I actually think in some ways RNG has been toned down in Payday 3.
Yeah, a little bit.
In terms of like room placements always seem to be consistent. But guards, cameras, civs, all that seemed a lot more random than what we were used to. I couldn't really learn anything about pathing. Everything was always a surprise. Stealth felt very intense because of that. But what was interesting that we were told is that the runs will be seeded, basically. So when you click restart, you will be within the same seed. So cameras, civs, guards will be in the same exact place, so you can learn from your mistakes. I'm not sure which way I fall on this one. I think in some sense it's good in terms of learning the game, but in another sense, like, the RNG is a lot of the replayability.
And also, when you play it again at a later point in time, it'll be different anyway, so why keep it the same in the one you're playing?
Oh, because you don't, some players might be getting very frustrated by being caught out by
that's what I mean, yes. There's like things either side. I think in terms of, like, from a lobby perspective, I actually quite like the idea of it being the same between the one attempt restarting it, because, like you said, it does avoid some of the mistakes there. But the thing is, like because the game feels like more of a living, breathing world, not to go into like the kind of the corporate buzzword kind of stuff, but it genuinely does feel more like that. You kind of feel like you're adapting around the guards and civilians a bit more just from their very nature, as you're saying, rather than just, the keycard may spawn in 5 different places.
Yeah.
Not to mention keycards are often on like guards' backs, which is just such a cool feature, grabbing them off.
Yeah, so the keycard's always somewhere different then, right? Like,
yeah, exactly.
You never know where you're going to find it.
Yeah.
You have to hunt down that guard.
Depends on where Phil is on his shift, you got to find it. I'm understanding now how you struggled yesterday with answering all the questions. To anyone who has asked a question or tried to ask it about 5 times and not had an answer, I'm so sorry. We're trying to get through as much as we can. How long have you got to do this? Because you want to get on with the Payday 2 video, right?
Yeah, I do need to work on that. It's, Are we gonna have a look at the gameplay?
Because
if not, I can do more questions. But if we're gonna look at the gameplay, maybe we should
do
gameplay and then come back and do a couple of questions.
I was gonna do a looking at the B-roll footage, but to be honest, I think the time would be better used with questions. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave it to you guys. I'm gonna put a poll in the chat. You can either get us to look over the B-roll footage and give our thoughts on it, kind of leave it running and talking over it. It won't really pause it so much because it'll take a while to get through anyway. Or we can just have another half an hour or so looking at some more questions. So there's the poll. Let us know which one you'd rather have. Let's see what people say, and then we can go from there. Obviously, if you vote questions, it doesn't guarantee that we'll answer your question, purely because, you know, we've had so many. But let's see. I'm expecting questions to get more answers, but we'll see what people pick. Because I'd like to answer some more questions.
Really good question about how impactful the weapon modding is. It's hard to tell, because it's hard to tell in the menu because of bars. I know Troy likes them, but I think they're very unintuitive. But
I don't see why you can't have both.
They're very impactful.
Or let you choose.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Have them both. You just take an average, right? Like, basically, the reason why they're bars is because there's a ton of stats. Like everything is tweaked a lot further now, in terms of the statistics that goes into how a weapon performs and feels in game.
Yeah.
And so that's why it's been simplified into bars, because there isn't just accuracy, stability. There's all these functions of X, Y, Z axis, recoil that have to go into it. So I would say just take an average and have a number there. But I would say, yeah, there's a huge difference between an unmodified and a heavily modified weapon. But it isn't necessarily that the modified weapon will be better. It will just be different. It will function in a different way. Yeah.
There you go. There you go. How's that for an insightful answer? That's better than I could have said. B-roll seems to be winning, so you may well do some B-roll stuff in a minute. But I did just see a question from Samuel Davis, who said that Noli mentioned an endless pager before. Does that count as more than one pager? So it's an elite guard, and once he spots you, or once you deal with him, sorry, his pager will go off on a loop. Now, as far as I know, I don't know if the devs confirm this, but I believe that even though it's repeating pager, it will only count the once on the first time. Because, I mean, look at it this way. If it was counting as a pager every time, it's going to be on a high difficulty like Overkill, where you've only got 2 pages available anyway. So once it loops a couple of times, you're out of time anyway. You may as well just have an enemy like the Commissioner Garrett in Breaking Feds, where you just can't kill him. What's the point? So
it does, yeah. It won't use up all your pages. In fact, it might not even use up any pager. I can't remember.
I would expect it to use one, because he still is a guard that you would take out.
The problem is the dude is like seeking you out.
True, because he is always in search mode. It's gonna feel like Resident Evil 2 or something with Mr. X or something. Imagine. You turn around, just there in the hallway.
It must use up something, because if you miss the pager, right, that would use up pages. So. I haven't had enough time with that guy. I've only seen him on one heist. Yeah, exactly. But the fact you can carry him around and bring him with you is hilarious. People have said, why don't you just take the goddamn pager off his body? And I agree. But
you could set like a hacking module on your phone. That could be a skill, like answering pages from far away. You get a pager module on your phone to answer them.
If you do have the distance answering, it might help. I think conceptually the idea was that really you have to have a teammate babysit him, which is obviously a loss to the team, and boring as hell for that poor guy.
Exactly, yeah. It's an interesting choice in theory. Not sure if it works so well in execution, if that's the case.
Yeah, well, but then when QA started playing with it, they were like, yeah, but I can just pick him up and walk around with him.
Exactly. So there's flexibility there. There is flexibility. Okay, so it seems like B-roll is winning, so we're going to look at the B-roll footage, along with one more from Striker NL. Also, by the way, I'm presuming you'll go after we've watched the B-roll footage, right?
Yeah.
I might do a few more questions afterwards, so we'll see. We'll see. But Striker has said, except Payday 2 and Payday the Heist, what other games does it feel Payday 3 has taken stuff from, like Call of Duty? I don't think I have anything other than Call of Duty, because a lot of it, like the weapon customization and like menu layouts, things like that, they feel very COD-like, but not in a bad way. It's just that a lot of what COD's done recently feels a bit more modern. As I've said, aside from the most recent Modern Warfare with the blooming Netflix, Disney Plus streaming service layouts, I hate that, and they've not done that. At least not in our build. Fingers crossed they don't do it in the full one. But could you even think of another game other than Call of Duty that seemed like such a heavy inspiration? What would you go for?
Yeah, I think so. I think immersive sims have been like a big inspiration, especially like the old Deus Exes.
Okay.
Actual immersive sim. There's a lot more immersive sim gameplay. There's a lot more like very immediate player choice on heists, especially in stealth. So yeah, like Deus Ex, I think maybe was an inspiration.
There you go. There you go. I swear it was in the game they mentioned this was an inspiration, but I can't remember what it was.
I'm sure Hitman as well, right?
Hitman, yeah, I think there must be with Hitman with the stealth. Hitman's got to be an inspiration. So yeah, Hitman. There's some things that feel Hitman-esque. Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I think what we'll do now is we'll have a little bit of a look at the B-roll footage. So I think what we'll do is probably just leave it running and just provide some commentary over it. If you guys have questions, we're going along, we might read them out. But we'll just kind of give our thoughts. Have you got a preference as to which one we kick off with?
The way I tried to do it was like split up the art gallery either side of the bank heist.
I'm not putting in that much effort. We'll just do it with it. I've got them ready to hit play, so I'll just hit play on them. So which one are you going to do?
Sure. Bank heist stealth.
Bank heist stealth. All right. So if you guys can't hear this, do let me know. And obviously you won't be able to hear it, so there is that downside.
And I'm down for you to pause it, obviously, if there's anything you want to specifically talk about.
Yeah.
Look how floppy Wolf's tires.
The physics or I said that to you, you were like running down the street in the art gallery and just the way Wolf's coat was flapping was so cool. It's more of like a physics thing going on here.
The first thing Mary and I did was try and get
hit by a car. Yeah, I was going to say, I remember him saying that in his video, like, you can't get hit by a car. I was like, was that one of the first things you did?
They stop and beep you. Yeah, because Pippa couldn't, like, his keyboard disconnected or something. So we were just messing around. Some people are like, why does this not set the alarm off?
I'm surprised that doesn't make people suspicious during the shutters.
But you're in a public area. You can basically get away with anything in a public area. That's how the mechanic works.
Anything?
Public indecency, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I don't know about that. What's the camera? What have we got? Do you have to worry about mods being killed by devs like Take-Two at GTA 5? I think mods will just be harder to do. I'm going to do a video talking about it, but I think there'll be more cosmetic type things. And if they work in the game, it'll probably be like user end. It won't affect other people, and Starbreeze won't care. They won't care if it doesn't change the game.
Look out, Pacific.
So this was my favorite approach to this heist.
Yeah,
I liked to maybe not go on the roof because it's a secure area, but I would go in through those windows and get as close to the camera room as I possibly could.
I actually didn't even take down the camera room when I did my solo stealth.
Really?
I shot a couple of well, it was only on normal, in fairness, it was a bit easier.
You could destroy them.
But I basically followed the objectives around, did most of it without my mask, and I only masked up when I was moving the manager to open the bank vault. So, like, I did most of it without even a mask on, which was quite
So he camera looped. He camera looped there, right?
Yeah.
But because you have such good control over the camera, theoretically, you could just hold it in place and tell your teammates, move past now.
Yeah.
Which I think is really cool.
And also, I know there and putting the portable camera on the guard's back. Andreas did that as well in a little demo in front of us, and it was like on a civilian's back in loud. And he turned the camera on, it was just
Stay
like
out of the restricted
area. Civilian, and the camera was on his back. It's brilliant.
It does actually work really well.
Yeah, it does. Will they introduce more difficulties along the line? They said they may well do a 5th difficulty. They haven't decided yet. If they do, health will still stay the same. It will all be about creating new inventive ways to make the game challenging, so we'll see.
I would put money on them doing it.
I think a 5th difficulty is probably going to happen at some point.
Do you have any idea why he goes for the stun here? Do you think it's just like for the flashiness of it?
I think it's just to show it off, yeah. Because they were like, oh, it's better than just taking them down. Oh, I'm going to do a flash stun. Yeah.
Well, the idea is, right, like, you're not going to run into him shooting at you like you might in Payday 2.
Yeah.
After he spotted you. But they generally, in a private area, he did have his mask out. I don't know how quickly they shoot you.
Well, yeah, because you did that, didn't you? You put the camera on the heister's face and got caught. Just because he was trying to look at their faces. I
called them to me.
So here's them dealing with the camera room. Like I said, I didn't even do this in the
and game. Closing doors is actually a big deal. It is important.
Yeah, I honestly, when I realized I could close the door, I was like, oh.
You can close the door on the goddamn bank, like, ain't no one coming in.
Wait, what, on the vault?
On the entrance to the bank.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah.
As like a full control sort of situation. Yeah.
So civilians won't come along then and just like open it then again?
I have no idea how civilians work there. I have no idea. But it makes sense, right? Otherwise, why would you be able to drop the shutters?
Yeah. Who's the new Bane? It's Shade, a female contractor that contractor or at least just voiceover guide. You'll probably hear her in bits as we're watching this footage. Obviously, it's not super loud, so you can hear us. But...
So did you do this?
Yeah.
You work out which one it is. What are you working out from? Which color?
It tells you the color, and then when you go down to the security thing, it has like 4 different colors. It's kind of like the White House color system. Where it's like, oh,
and did you ever get anywhere with the optional objective that's just coming up on screen now?
No, because I completely forgot I could even open the deposit box. Because I got so excited that I completed the heist and stealth that I was like, I'm gonna get straight out.
I think I found the information, but I never managed to find the box.
Yeah, same.
But these are interesting, right? Like, they can be extra loot, but they can also, there are optional objectives that help you with the heist you're currently on. So in an art gallery, you could theoretically not know where any of the paintings are you're looking for, and you could just go through every single art gallery room.
Yeah.
And just hope. Or you can go to the manager's office.
So
yeah, here is where I ran. Here's where I sprinted and called the guards to me. You'll see he's like sort of
gotcha.
now walking with him.
Because yeah, in secure areas, guards will hear you if you're running. Just keep that in
I love the way he throws them at it.
Yeah. Do you think President Bane will appear? I mean, it's not impossible, but I think they're going to try and stay more rooted and just kind of leave that be.
If he doesn't appear, though, like, there are lots of questions.
Well, I mean, could he still be in office? Because the president that he's taken over, how long has he been in office for? President can only have 8 years anyway.
Yeah, he would have to be in his second term, theoretically. I mean, I wonder if they're going to play it in, like... Because let's say it was the start of his second term in 2018, he would have just been out of office in 2022.
Yeah.
But I don't know whether it actually is meant to match reality in terms of terms.
Maybe not, yeah. It's the die packs as well.
His term was up in like 2020, and in those years, that's how someone has managed to conspire against the Payday gang, because previously President Bane protected them.
Yeah, could be. Actually, that's a very good point.
Because if Bane's still just chilling as the president, and the Payday gang's getting hunted down, he's just not interested. Something seems a bit odd about that, right?
Yeah. Also, here's a question that AJ just said. How would you feel about YouTubers being contractor voices or just having any kind of bigger roles? Like, if they were to ask you if you wanted to be a voice in Payday 3, would you want to be anything more than a glorified cameo?
I don't think I've got the chops for it.
Well, this is the thing, right? Because I'm like, if Starby said to me, oh, you know, do you want to be in Payday 3? I'd be like, yes, but only as like a voice cameo. Like, I'd be a civilian with one voice line. I'd be quite happy with that. But like, I don't personally believe YouTubers should have any more input than that, unless they're professional voice actors.
Yeah, are any of us good enough for it? That's the question.
Exactly.
And
H3HD weren't. What?
From my perspective, I don't like the idea of people hunting out my civ to shoot him. All right, I'd get very protective of him. Yeah,
exactly. Well, there you go. In your own playthroughs, you just kind of like take him hostage and take him around with you, you know?
No, be free.
I'd love it if it was just like they like spoke like their interest. Like, imagine if Master Indigo had one, and you just took like a hostage, and as you were moving around, you went, "Hi guys, Master Indigo here." Like, you'd have them actually talking like they do. It'd be so funny. But yeah, as Robo Spikes, that's what I'm thinking. Something like Connor Shaw's voice in Diamond Heist, just a really like passing thing. Like, anything beyond that for a YouTuber, I don't personally think would be appropriate.
Yeah, but people used to hunt down those civs. It's just not worth it.
Yeah, there is that. But there you go. Right, so that's Bank Stealth. Have you got a preference to which one next? Should we stick with Bank and go loud, or should we do some more stealth?
Let's do more stealth. Let's do the art gallery. I've tricked you into doing exactly what I wanted. So.
Oh, he's manipulating me. He's pulling all the strings. Here we go. All right, here's the art gallery stealth then. Let's have a look through this footage.
Oh, Master Indigo's here.
Is he actually?
Yeah.
Oh, he is! He's heard me do that impersonation of him twice now on consecutive days. I'm so sorry. I still think it's a good impersonation, though. I don't think it's, like, amazing, but it's not bad.
Yeah, so out here is where all the civs are that you managed to corral.
Let's not talk about it. Selfie mode in Payday 3. I'd be interested to see if they did some kind of photo mode, but I don't feel like it's a game that needs it, really. Which is, I love.
Oh, it would be cool though. It would be cool. I'm a champion of, because I don't know how I'm going to record the story of Payday 3 if there's no free flight mode.
There'll be one. Someone like that eventually, no doubt. But yeah, I've always been an advocate of every game should have a photo mode. But like a game like this, I'm like, I get it if there wouldn't.
So yeah, once again with this heist, I preferred not the rooftop entry, because when I did the rooftop entry, I fell through a vent and landed straight in like a laser set-up room.
Tom Cruise would not be impressed with you.
Yeah, not the best preparation at all, but you can't see what you're falling into. See, here through the glass, you can see where you're going, but if you go through the vent, you don't see it first. So I'd always go through the second floor roof, the second floor windows, and go straight for the security room.
Yeah, gotcha.
Which is what I was doing while you were killing all those civs.
Thanks for that.
But I love all these rooms. I think they're such cool.
Yeah, there's some really good design done here. And also, I should point this out because I mentioned it in my stream yesterday. I don't know if you've acknowledged it in your Q&A, but the art gallery there, it says shared items. We didn't have that in our build. When you got a QR code off a phone, every player had a QR code next to their name. Whereas, because the way it works is once you get a QR code after scanning a phone, the QR codes are what you use to open different exhibition rooms. If one person uses a QR code, no one else can use that code because it's been used. So it makes more sense to have it as a shared item because, you know, it's in a shared pool. Once someone uses it, it's used full stop. So I like that they've done that in the hood. That makes it a bit
Can you real quick just pause, rewind 20 seconds?
No.
So that dude hacking that, please. Can you do that physically?
Yes, I can.
Yes. Yeah, right here.
Yeah, go on.
So he is about to do what I did to myself.
Okay, alright.
Until his teammate loops the camera. You can see it, watch. The camera's red, he takes charge of it, and he's about to look at himself, and he loops it and saves it. So he was that close to having the exact same thing.
So there's other people in Starbreeze as vain as you are. I'm joking. Also, here's using the Detonate camera. I didn't realise this until later, but you can see now the guard comes around the corner, and then you can see it says press E to detonate it. That breaks the camera and stuns anyone under its radius, and you see it happen here, so shebang. Look at that.
Again, super flashy. Yeah. I'd be really interested if doing this would maybe impact the pager going off.
This is the thing, that I feel like there should be certain instances where pages don't sound, but that would possibly make the game a bit too easy.
It's not just that though, right? Like, I feel like there needs to be a bigger reward for setting that up. Because like the reward itself is just that the guard was stunned. Yeah. But couldn't you have just done that takedown on them anyway? I don't know.
I guess it was just to be a bit flashy, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So there needs to be more value than just flash. The stun is sick, but I need to see a purpose to it.
Over there.
Yeah. And maybe there is, and I just haven't worked it out yet.
Master Nigo said he's listening at work, and someone said, "Do you work at a bank?" It will be funny. Hope not. If I was a Payday YouTuber and I worked at a bank, I would not be able to relax in my job. I'd be constantly sweating, like looking around going, is anyone's casing this joint?
My favourite thing is saying I work in the financial industry. And then work.
That's like in Hitman when he goes, I'm in the retirement industry. It's like, like really vague about it. Is there different gunfire audio for outside and inside? Do you mean like between walls? There is, isn't there?
Echo and stuff.
Yeah, echo, yeah. Gun sounds are really good in this game, I feel like, personally.
Easier difficulty stealth is a fair bit easier because you can destroy the cameras, honestly.
Yes. Yeah.
Because guards don't really go into these rooms, if I remember, because obviously the rooms are well controlled, so you can just take out all the cameras in there.
And yeah, unlike Payday 2, if you destroy a camera, a guard won't like be coded to go and investigate it like they do sometimes in Payday 2. You smash a camera and a guard will just like break their path to go look. They don't do that in Payday 3.
Yeah, I'm not sure how the search works with cameras. I don't think they do, no.
They only notice the camera if like they see it in their normal line of vision.
Right.
Like they don't go out their way and go, oh, I've heard a camera's broken, I'll go check it out. I made sure to ask them, so I was like, have you changed that? They're like, yeah, it's not like that now. I was like, good.
Yeah. So Nemo's thinking what I was thinking, which is you use the remote stun to run past him, which is why I'm like, why in the gameplay did you then take him down and use up the pager anyway? The only thing is, I'm not sure if they like immediately go into search if you blow up a camera on their face. Like, I don't know what happens to their AI.
Imagine.
Like, you'd be pretty shocked about the whole thing, right? I don't know. If that is how it works, then great. Actually, that stun has an excellent application. But if it makes the guard go mega search mode, maybe that's a bit spooky and you just want to take him out anyway.
Yeah, true. Also notice the bags do have a little bit of jiggle physics. Very nice. Just like the coats. I'm headcanon in my head that was like them changing away from a failure or something. It obviously wasn't because things are much more forgiving, but I just love the jump cut between the guard spots them and all of a sudden, oh, we're in a different room.
I'm a huge fan of how they just like the Civ says something, they're like, shut up!
Yeah. And here's the safe cracking.
Did you try this minigame?
I did it in the bank, yeah. Took me a couple of games.
Right.
Like you shouldn't be able to go backwards, should you? Because they went backwards a smidge there.
So you can go backwards if you're very close. I think it's within like 3 ticks.
Okay.
Yeah. Because otherwise it's super frustrating. You just have to keep going round in circles.
Yeah. Oh, hello Ben. Nice to see you in this chat. I know you can get kicked out when you're not masked, but let's say if cops are called, does everyone auto mask up like 2, or can others pretend to be civilians?
Everyone mask up.
Yeah.
Would be really interesting. And that's
yeah,
actually
imagine
someone asked me that
like an AI just smoking against the pole, just like, Bit of a shootout going on here, isn't there? And then eventually you just wait and then suddenly join in like the Joker or something. That'd be cool.
It would be frustrating for your teammates though if you're like refusing to fight. But
give us a hand. No, I don't think I will.
Like you walk up to a guard like a Civ and you suddenly take him hostage next to the other guards. That would be so sick. And like for those set pieces, it would be amazing. Yeah. But I think from like a game balance and a community perspective, because you know there'd be some arsehole who would not fight. Yeah, I don't know how they could do that really. Yeah, like that sort of pseudo stealth approach. I wish there was more you could do with it mechanically, but I think in an online game it'd be very difficult. And yeah, this was when I in my one of the like dev diary reviews, I was like, it's that's a pretty big looking vent. I reckon you can fit through that.
It is, and there you go. You were right. I love how the victim is in the chat saying, "Is stealth fun?" Yes, it is. It's much better than Payday 2. It's absolutely fantastic. It can be frustrating, but would make for an interesting system. Keep the guards away while someone works in the shadows. That could be cool, yeah. But like
someone can play that style more anyway. They could have no combat skills and be specifically orientated around objectives.
Guard.
Indigo's job. I'm kind of like the red Gensec at Go Bank, patrolling in a car, so I do go to banks if needed. Oh wow. You're always looking over your shoulder now, are you, for someone going, hi, Dallas.
Hey!
This is kind of like what happened with me and the civvies, but it was a big.
Yeah, I love how they get caught here and then they cut and they're uncaught.
Here if you want to stay and steal some more.
Do you reckon they had cheats on?
Or maybe it's a different take of the heist, possibly.
Yeah, I've got no idea.
Because there's no heist timer, is there? You know, there's no heist timers.
True.
It's not currently.
True.
So.
They failed that like 17 times before they got that take.
There you go. You're ruining the illusion there. You're ruining the illusion. How can you do that? Having a bit of punishment for killing civs, example, if you kill a civ, not only will you lose money, assaults will be longer, cops will be more aggressive. I don't know about that, but you can lose a lot of money if you kill quite a few civs. So that could be big enough.
The cops literally are more aggressive if you kill the civs around you.
Oh, there you go then. There you go.
Yeah, that's how they'll act. They'll throw grenades at you and stuff, whereas if they see civs, they won't.
Yeah, so there you go. Adaptation, as they say. All right, time for the loud bank heist. Now, I don't know if this is going to be a bit too loud, because obviously there's going to be a lot of gunfire, so do let me know if I need to turn this one down. But here is the B-roll for the loud bank. Let's have a look over this. This is what you did a bit more of, you know? We did it on Overkill. I don't know what difficulty this is on in this one, but...
A lot of guards on
it's definitely not normal. I would guess it's hard.
Yeah, I think they said a couple of them were very hard, but I don't know if they were all there.
Gate is magnetically sealed.
Make sure you just guessing based on the number of enemies. I know the enemy cap goes up for very hard in Overkill. So I think it's the fewer enemies variant based on what we see.
Ever Phantom, they didn't unfortunately have any footage to provide for us of Art Gallery on Loud. If they had it, I would show it. But like
Art Gallery on Loud's really fun, by the way.
Yeah, it's fun. It's really fun to play. I'm hoping that, like I said, whether it be them giving us a beta or letting, you know, if they fly us out to Sweden again, they're not going to do that. Like, whenever we get a chance to have a look at it again, we'll hopefully be able to share some gameplay of the Loud Art Gallery. And who knows, maybe more from that. So fingers crossed we can show you. But all I can say is right now it is very, very good.
The thing about Loud Art Gallery is the Overkill weapons land in the most inconvenient location.
Yeah.
And you have to like seek them out, but they're so useful that it's worth it. I love how he just goes, he breaks negotiation here for literally no reason.
Yeah,
this is what I was
that's the thing.
Well.
I thought you had to do it like the trailer, where you would take the civvy outside, throw him on the floor, and that would count. Because I did that when I was playing, and I was like, that didn't do anything. What's the point? But no, if you look again and watch carefully, there's a button. Oh, there you go. You can see it. Trade hostage for time. So you have to trade them while they're on the floor. If you shoot any police officers, it breaks the whole negotiation phase. So that's that. Show some love. Yes, Lemons, everyone show some love. Thank you very much. Anyone who has subscribed, by the way, or donated does mean a lot. Especially right now, I'm not getting much tutor room work. I'm relying on the YouTube income, and this month's helped a lot. I'll tell you that much. So thank you, everyone who's helped.
Yeah. Ben, we did ask about mod support.
Yes.
Roy probably knows more than me, actually. But it's clearly something that they're very aware of, passionate about, but are still stepping around potential pitfalls with crossplay, etc.
Yeah. What I will say is that, and I'll repeat this again in case people didn't hear it earlier. On Friday, because I'm doing like the week of Payday, so tomorrow we're going to be talking about Payday 2 update 238. On Thursday, I'm going to be doing a full video about the whole trip to Sweden, which I'm not sure if that's going to do as well, but I hope it does, because it's going to be really cool, like just exploring the whole story. So hope you guys tune in for that. But Friday is the big finale of me interviewing Alamir in person, which was a mental thing to do. But I did ask him about mods. I made sure to include that. With Andreas, I wanted to, but he had to go and pick up his kid, so we only had a limited amount of time. That's why it's only 20 minutes. So I asked him, like, the questions I thought were the most hard hitters, and I figured I could ask Almir about mods anyway. So I do ask him about it. What I will say ahead of time is he doesn't say a great deal, but he does acknowledge that they are important to the community and that they want to make sure that they, you know, don't make them impossible to mod. But as Noli said, crossplay will create problems. I will do a video discussing it in more detail next week. I've spoken to some modders and I've got a bit more of an idea of, you know, how things might work. So I'll put that video out as soon as I can, basically, but keep an eye out. But yeah, so you can see here, you can trade the hostages for time in the negotiation phase. The timer increases on negotiation. And then when they suddenly decide to just go a bit nuts and take a hostage out, and then they shoot a cop. As soon as you shoot the cop, watch what happens to the negotiation in the top left corner. Bam, it's gone. So the second you show any kind of violence, you break that negotiation phase.
And actually just stepping outside will break the negotiation phase.
Does it?
Yeah.
Oh, even more.
But that's because then you could get away with so much just trading civilians, like, of the heist.
And it makes sense to like a heist drama. They're like, you know, we're not coming out, give us this, give us that. Like, it makes sense.
Yeah, so I think negotiation is less powerful at the start of this heist because you have to step outside with the thermite at some point. Whereas if you can get further in stealth, if you're already in the bank, negotiation's worth way more because you can start setting up for escape.
Yeah, I'm just going to run this back as well, actually, folks. I've turned it down a bit so the music's going to be a bit loud, but just listen to Shade here.
You can get the thermite to burn faster if you add more bags to the fire. Just don't fucking overdo it.
I just like her. I know you couldn't hear that. I'm sorry, but that's her saying about, you know, adding the bags and don't overdo it.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I just like Shade. As well, like I've said before, I'm a big fan of Locke, and I do hope we see him at some point in Payday 3. But as of right now, in terms of a commentator, I do like Shade. I think he's really good.
Yeah, I agree. Do you see how cops react to, like, contextually to where they're being shot and stuff?
Yeah, it's just a vastly improved AI in the cops.
I know that's, like, probably standard for 2023, but we've been
used to Diesel, you know, yeah.
I love how that body flies out the top as well at that point. Again, like, the ragdolls are brilliant.
I also, no one's really said it, or maybe you've said it and I've not realised, but, like, I love that we still have the helmet flying when you kill a cop.
Yeah, it's I could do a whole video about how it's also, like, a huge part of the gameplay loop satisfaction. It really is. And even, like, the cops, the regular beat cops have hats that fly off at 70 miles an hour. It's so satisfying.
Is this car for one of the exclusive sets? I think it is, yeah. There were some preset weapons in the game that you could buy with, like, a lot of money. Like, one of them was, like, a sniper variant thing, and it cost $20 million. And there was some that cost a certain amount of C-stacks. Remember, the C-stacks are like Payday 3's Continental coins, where you buy them with cash. You don't earn them in sync with cash.
I'm almost positive that 500 C-stacks is more than $20 million.
Yeah. So there's a lot more towards production of, you know, like earning things and it taking longer and not reaching a point 5 hours in where you got more money than you're ever going to need. Because they're trying to avoid that a little bit more.
This AK that they're showing off a lot is super OP. But, it's very expensive in game.
Ben in the chat, you say it's standard for 2023, but remember Redfall came out this year and the AI was awful. I was like actually keen to play Redfall, then I saw it was 30 FPS, then I saw all the bugs, and I went, you know what, I'm good. And I liked Forspoken, so I will still give things a go if I think I'm interested in it, but Redfall, I was like, no, I'm good.
I was talking yesterday about, like, all the armor and stuff and how it worked, and my face was in the bottom left-hand corner. Covering it the entire time.
Oh, well done. Well done. It's fine. You can just get, you can imagine, it's fine. I don't think there's split screen though, Victor. There wasn't in Payday 2, so I'm going to assume there isn't in Payday 3. Split screen would be interesting.
It would be sick. I would be very pro that.
I like that couch co-op, can we just say, is something that kind of has fallen out of trend in the last 10 years. I love it. Like, especially when, like, Star Wars Battlefront came out, the first EA one, and they were like, oh, there's going to be couch co-op. I was like, that's good. I like little bits with split screen. That stuff's good. I was really pumped for Redfall when I was let down. We need to just have a catch-up, Ben. It feels like it's been years since I think it has been years since I spoke to you. Drop me a message with one bit of catch-up. And then I can try
see how long it is. You see how long it took that sniper to fire?
Yeah, it's like...
I think maybe they actually only shoot at you if you stand still.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't have confirmation of that.
Because I thought about that
too. So much damage.
They're a bit more hesitant to shoot you almost, yeah. The interact with flying. Yeah, like just even mag interactions are so good. What happens to the music from the reveal trailer? I'm presuming we'll get some audio file of it at some point.
It almost certainly belongs to a different heist.
I want to hear everything Gustavo's been fucking Gustavo Kishimio is just an absolute maestro. People saying, oh, you know, I'm sad that Simon Bicklum's not bad. Not back. Don't be. Gustavo is just as good as Simon, and in some ways they're going to be better stuff. It's literally a meme between me and Gustavo at this point now that whenever someone mentions good Gustavo music, I always say Deadeye from Bullock's Mansion. But like, that's just one of several songs that are just so bloody brilliant. He's such a good composer. And also, Team Escape. I think Ben mentioned it earlier, inspired from Overkill's The Walking Dead. Love that you have a countdown when everyone gets to the zone, so if you spot something, you can run out of the escape zone and grab it and bring it back. Like, it's not an instant thing. I think that's
But also, it means that you do have to hold a little bit in there.
Mm.
Like, we very nearly failed at that late into the heist.
Yeah. The Overkill weapons, I recall man talk about saying it's basically a free-for-all to grab it. Is there a way to be selfish and stop others from grabbing them? I thought, I don't know if this is a feature, and you can always correct me if I'm wrong, but I imagined that when you call it in, only you can pick it up to begin with, then you drop
Not
it.
true.
Right, well, I
Anyone
hope they
can
do
pick
that
them up.
then. That would be cool.
No. Like, the whole point is the team has to get over to them. You have to work together to get them. And, like, it's never... everyone can have one. You can call in multiple at once.
Everybody's, couldn't you?
It's not possible. Because once they've got one, they can't pick up another one.
Yeah, but it's like ammo-based, so if they literally pick it up and fire all the rounds, they could then just go to the next one and pick the next one up.
If they're going out of their way to be that toxic, just get them out your lobby. I think the way it works is better than you can only pick it up, because it might not be possible for you to get there, whereas your teammate with more health, more resources can get there and save the heist.
Yeah.
We were just picking up each other's, but I was never frustrated when someone picked. If your goal is to complete the heist, you don't care who gets the overkill weapon. And which overkill weapon you have. And also the nice thing about that, especially if they add more down the line, is you get to try out all the different overkill weapons without having them in your build. I'm a staunch protector of the way the mechanic works. I think it's really good. At first I thought it was very hard to recover them. And on lower difficulties, you'll forget about them because you don't need them. But on higher difficulties, you need them, they are crucial, and you will work together to get to them. And it doesn't matter who has them.
Thermal sniper. It looks so cool.
It's very satisfying.
Yeah, I really can't wait to get.
It's built around the idea of collaterals as well, and you can see heat signatures through walls and things, so you can wallbang them, and it's sick. I barely use the piglet.
T-Bone in the chat has just asked us what we think of Hoxton's face, based on someone being a Hoxton mate since 2011. This might be a bit of a shock to Noli, but I actually have a leaked picture of Hoxton's face that I'm going to share with you all now. I'm kind of breaking my NDA here, so you guys can't tell. You can't tell Starbreeze. You can't tell him about this. But here's what Hoxton looks like. Yeah, I'm having a laugh. I do think he looks a bit like Prince Charming though. Not in the hair, but in the face. Just wait until you actually get to play it, and then yeah, had us in the first half there. If anyone from Starbreeze was watching, I hope you didn't actually think I was going to break it then. But yeah, I like I still like a lot of the new faces, but I do think Hoxton looks a bit like Prince Charming in the face. I do.
He does look less British.
Yeah.
That is a good point.
Yeah.
He does. I don't know what it is about it, but I preferred the old design, whereas all the other heisters, I'm pretty neutral between the two designs. I think they're both good. But I do think I preferred the Josh Len design a little bit.
Yeah.
But
people are just now seeing the picture of Prince Charming. See from the chat. Yeah, I am telling. Don't worry, you don't need to. I said them it looked a bit Prince Charming-y. He doesn't look necessarily bad. It was just a comparison I made. It was like if anyone's played Yakuza 0, when I saw Shibusawa for the first time, I thought he looked like Jeremy Renner. And I've never been able to unthink that. I've never seen anyone else say it, but I was like, no, he looks just like him. Sometimes I do that with faces where I just immediately think of somebody else, and I don't know why. I saw Hoxton and went Prince Charming.
Yeah, I played him a lot, so I heard him and didn't see him.
There you go, you were saved.
Yeah, I played him in Wolf a lot.
Well, there we go. So, is this the point where I give you a chance to run away to carry on making the crude video?
Yeah, I will head out, but the I will leave you with the Wolf voice actor is more than capable. He's almost it's accent-wise, it's almost identical. It'd probably be easier to spot the difference if I was Swedish, but I think he's nailed it, and he's sort of got that exact same personality in his delivery. Pretty loudmouth, pretty unhinged. style.
Yeah.
For Wolf.
Yeah,
so
I think
quite
Nicholas
impressive.
is doing a very good job. I do.
All right, so I will head out because I'm low on time on the video for tomorrow. But
I've still got to record mine yet. I need to get into the heist and play. I'm a little bit behind. I'm gonna just pull a late nighter and I'll get it done that way. But the thing is, I've already got some impressions from you guys. We can't tell you, obviously, except we can't see what we think. But Noli and like Mario and a few others have like played it and told me about it, so I've got an idea and I already know I'm gonna be cooking something cool with my video. But yeah. Mate, we'll see what happens tomorrow. Literally can't say anything else. Just know that the heist is coming out tomorrow. My video will go up at 2 PM UK time, unless the heist is delayed. If the heist is delayed like later, like by a couple of hours, the video will come out whenever it releases on Steam. So just keep that in mind. And then, you know, you'll have mine for the immediate news, and you'll have Noli's for the more refined, you know, the late night, the evening Payday content, you know, the nighttime, the after hours. There you go, Payday after hours. That's yours.
Yeah, that makes it sound filthy. I'm gonna have to name it something like Blue Me again.
All right. Payday 2 Crude Awakening Blue Me real.
I will head out now then. So
cool.
Take care.
Cheers for being here, buddy. Really appreciate it.
All right. Talk soon.
See you soon, bud.
Bye bye.
And there goes Noli. There he goes. Oh, that's so weird. You can see the stream in there. Right, folks, I'm going to keep going for a bit longer because you guys are here. We're chatting. I know maybe Noli's face is what brought you all here. You know, maybe once it's just me on my own, I'm going to be like, I don't want to be here with this guy. I don't know what screen you want me to use, whether you want me to use this screen. Oh, look at this transition. Whoa! I don't know whether you want me to go back to this or leave the other window open with the chat. Let me know what you prefer. But I feel like sitting here for a bit longer and reading out a few more messages from you guys. There is no music in this source. Let me add that back in. Sorry. There we go. Well, do you want me to have the other scene on? Do you want me to keep this scene on? Let me know what you think. But yeah, I want to answer some more questions, and I'm going to try and do it in a more speedy way. So any questions you've got, pop them in the chat. Let me know. But just while we're going, if I can just say as well, to anyone who's donated with Super Chats in the stream tonight, it makes a massive difference. Especially this last month, I have done really well with my stats on YouTube, and I can't thank you all enough for that. You all are absolute legends. YouTube, like, I'm not going to go into loads of details, but from a financial standpoint, YouTube has not been even close to reliable for a while, and this month's done a lot better. So anyone who donates to support has honestly made a great difference, because I am a tutor, and now that exams are over for the UK schools, I'm not earning much money from that, so this is kind of making up for the gap. So anyone who's done that, you've made a huge difference. So if you do want to support with Super Chats, you can. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. There's also channel memberships. I've just overhauled those. You get cool little Dallas masks next to your name if you do that now. There's also emotes. So I'll just show those off, and then I'll wrap up the shilling, because I don't want to spend 5 hours shilling things. But you can get Dallas's mask, a medic bag, the 3 from the logo, lock, and the shot of Dallas's face saying, alright guys, it's a simple job. So if you want to become a member, feel free to. If you want to do a super chat, feel free to, but those are obviously completely optional. So, let's get into some more questions. Let's see what everyone is saying. Oh, there's so many questions. I'm so sorry, because I know there's so many people I don't answer here, and I do sincerely apologize for that. I really do. And you know what? I think I'll leave the other... Shall I leave this screen on? What do you think? Shall I leave this screen? Do you know what, actually? Do you know what I'll do? I'll keep this screen on, and I'm going to put the YouTube chat as a little mini overlay on it. Let's do it that way. That'll make it a little bit easier. It'll be a little bit kind of like, you know, rough, but it'll just be something in the corner just to kind of be there, if that makes sense. Just so it's a bit of a simpler layout and you guys can see the chat a bit. So, let's have a little read through, or let's crop out the scroll bar just for the sake of OCD. Go away. Actually, you know what? Let's shrink it to fit with the box. There we go. That looks good. I like that. Okay, let's read through some questions. And I am immediately removing anyone who spams questions. I don't even know what it says. Please stop spamming questions. Please stop doing that. Now watch the viewer count drops into the... Alright, come on. Don't be like that. Come on. There's still a couple hundred people here. I appreciate you all being here. Alright, let's go through some questions. Let's see. Since they removed concealment, what are some of the new trade-offs for attachments now? You see, the thing for me is the attachments I don't feel like are the things that are compensated by concealment. The thing with concealment, it's just been removed because it makes it a bit easier to create overall stronger builds that you can just translate very well into loud with. I don't think there's a trade-off per se for removing concealment. It's just gone, and it makes life easier. Like, is it a bit sad that you maybe get to text the time a bit faster? Yeah, but you'll get used to it. It's not a massive change. Like, I think, if I was to make a guess, I'd say it's about like 20 detection risk in Payday 2, maybe. Something like that, but I don't know for sure because I didn't time it. I didn't have a stopwatch. So, can you sprint in casing mode? Yes, you can. Don't know why they didn't do it in the gameplay, but you can sprint while you're in casing mode. So yeah, that's good. Do you feel that there was anything lacking or you thought was missing in the Payday 3 beta you played? Just to emphasize, it was not a beta we played, it was just a press build. We still don't know if there's a beta even happening. Hopefully there is, but we will see. We'll find out. So we'll hopefully know soon enough if there is. But like I said, I've got a couple of issues that I mentioned in the video that went out on Monday, but they're more nitpicky things. So, you know, there's no animation when you're looting in a bag. Even when you fill up a bag, it's just on your back. I liked in Crime Boss that you interacted and saw the bag seal up and throw over your shoulder. I like that. There's a few tiny little bits like that, but I don't really have anything where I sit here and go, this is terrible. Payday 3 is just a very good game. It's a very good game from what I've played. Did you learn anything about Crime Spree and if it will return? I don't think Crime Spree will return. I think there's definitely a potential for some kind of roguelike mode, because that's what Crime Spree was, right? It was the idea that you would keep playing, keep getting better rewards until you die or you cash out kind of thing. But I wonder how they'll do it in Payday 3, if they even will do it again. Crime Spree was not in the base game that we played. I don't believe it's going to be in there at launch, but maybe there'll be some kind of roguelike later. I don't know. Could be interesting. Do you feel... I've already read that one. Do you have any information on SAG houses? Safe houses, do you mean? No information on safe houses. Don't even know if they have one. I would assume they do, but maybe we won't even see it. Not sure. Actually, not too sure. I have transitioned to PC with only one DLC, the Christmas music DLC. You should, you know, buy some more DLC. Don't worry, just enjoy yourself. You don't have to buy DLC to have a good time. But I hope you're enjoying the switch to PC. Could the Overkill weapon fill on completing or while defending objectives? The reward how players might not get high kills. At present, it's all kill-based. Nothing else gets you Overkill weapon progress. That could change, and that's not a bad idea, what you've said, but it's based on kills. But it's like Noli said, and I know Socracable Ben agreed with me afterwards, I personally don't think that Overkill weapon should be free to anyone to grab once you call them in. I think in a friend-only lobby, that's fine, but in a public lobby, I mean, Noli literally said you could get people who start mocking you and don't mask up if everyone wasn't forced to. You could get the same people trying to run down every Overkill weapon, fire the ammo out and move on. And yes, you can remove them, but it still doesn't eliminate the problem. So I'm hoping with Overkill weapons, you are the only one who can pick them up when you call them in, but you can then drop them and let other people pick them up. That's a much better system, I think. Do you know if the windows and other glasses are a placeholder? It looks unfinished on videos. No, that little thing you were seeing was like a hacking bar. Like it's just showing you where you would move the blowtorch along almost. So it was like a HUD element. It wasn't really there. It's just something for you to show for when playing the game. Do you know how much money you got for completing commission? I'm going to be honest, I don't know, Keydon. I apologize. The reason for that being was that the build I was playing in me had like $9 bajillion. So I wasn't really looking going, how much money have I made? I was looking at how does this game play. But I did kick myself afterwards thinking I should have looked at the money and seen what kind of earnings were like. Again, we get a beta soon, then we'll find out. If we don't, we'll know in a few months, but we'll see. You know, but we all need our payday, right? Everyone needs a job. We all need our payday. If I get the game on Xbox, can I install from Xbox app on PC? So, if you mean on Game Pass, I know it's on Xbox Game Pass. Don't know about PC Game Pass. They haven't mentioned that there's a Windows platform. The only PC ones I know of are Steam and Epic Games. I don't believe there's a PC version of Payday 2 via Microsoft. I could be wrong, though. I could be wrong. So that would require some more research. But in terms of if you're playing, like if you're talking about can I install it from my computer, yes, you could. Because you can remote install things from a computer or a mobile onto your Xbox. But on those devices themselves, I don't know. The mask can be forced on during assault and stun during negotiation phase, making for strange beginning plays such as an immediate flank. Yeah, I just think that they're just going to keep it the same in that sense, that as soon as you mask up, that's it, job done. Like, once the alarm goes off, everyone needs to be masked up for the sake of preserving identities, that kind of thing. Do you think other heists will be added, returning and new? I did ask them about classic heists, and they were very kind of dancing around it. They didn't really say a lot about it. From my impression, there's 8 original heists in the game at launch. They haven't said that, but it feels to me like all the 8 heists are going to be new original ones. We could get a situation like Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, where when they released D-Machine, the first Zombies map, it was Nakta and Toten, but expanded massively. You could get something in Payday 3 where you've got, like, the jewelry store interior in a map that's 5 times as big. And that's a Payday 3 heist. That could happen. There's no confirmation or denial to that. But in terms of actual classic heists just put over verbatim, I don't imagine there'll be any at launch. But I honestly definitely think there'll be some post-launch. No confirmation on it, but that just makes sense to me. For me, personally, we have to have First World Bank. Because that's like a synonymous Payday heist. It was in Payday the Heist, Payday 2, the live-action series. And it was originally set in New York anyway. It makes sense for it to come back in this, personally. Anyway, what else have we got? Have you seen only small pre-planning favors, or are there bigger ones which give you alternate objectives similar to Big Bank's Escape? I haven't seen any big ones like that, but I would hope there are some. Like I said, my build didn't give me a great deal of pre-planning flexibility. There were a few things I didn't get to see a lot of that I would have liked to, like the thermal sniper. Unfortunately, pre-planning was one of them, so I can't pass much of an opinion on that just yet. Hopefully soon. That's the good thing though about watching other Overkill partners' videos, right? Some people will have different things to say about different parts of the game. I know for a fact Mario talked a lot more about like the menus than I did, whereas I talked a lot about the stealth, like kind of mortifer levels, discussion of stealth. So everyone's going to give a different perspective. So it's worth watching other partners' videos. Don't forget about me if you do, but you know. Are the invisible barriers really noticeable, or is the map more open like Crime Boss? I actually didn't walk into any invisible barriers that I can remember. So, not too sure. Crime Boss is a bit annoying though, because the screen goes black and white, right? And it's like, oh, go back to the map. That would be kind of nice, I suppose. I think the original heist won't be improved on, since they are most likely trying to improve the gameplay and fix bugs and such. Well, the thing is, any heist that they put into Payday 3, they're going to have to rebuild from the ground up anyway, because you can't port from Diesel to Unreal as far as I know. Everything has to be rebuilt from the ground up. It's what Andreas said in the interview today. So, if they put a classic heist in, you need to bear in mind they've had to do it from the ground up. If you think you talked a lot about stealth, you didn't watch Mortifer's video. No, I did. I'm saying like it was Mortifer level. Like we talked a lot about stealth in both of our videos. He talked a bit more about it because obviously he's just a stealth guy. But like just from me recording my video, I felt like the thing I was the most invested in talking about was stealth because of how much it's changed, how much better it is. So, well, a new screen filter is await, buddy. This is the moment where I just like suddenly switched to crime. Have I still got Crime Boss on my Xbox? Just out of interest. Have I still? I have. Oh, that's so funny. That's so funny that I could just suddenly put Crime Boss back on. Oh, that's hilarious. Can the music go away? There we go, it's gone. What do you think will be the price tag for the DLC? I don't know. Don't know. My anticipation would be similar prices to Payday 2 DLC, but I could be wrong. So like, what, heists are like $5, weapon packs like $3, $4. Probably something like that. I don't see them reinventing the wheel much there. Are you asking me what the background music is currently? It's out of this background video, so if I get rid of... Actually, you won't hear me, but this video here... background video there is like a press thing, and it had some music in the background, so I just made a looped version of that. I don't know what it's called, I don't know what it's from. I think it might be menu music, but I don't know for certain. We'll know soon enough. But I had access to it, so I made a little loop for it. I hope you like it, because I certainly do. Gustavo's a great composer, I said this already. If they got rid of actor-looking heisters, does that confirm no live-action trailers and cinematics? Well, the thing is, Washburn, and I want to explore this a bit more in a future video. Andreas is now confirmed. If you haven't watched my newest video, I interviewed Andreas Hellpenninger, the lead producer on Payday 3. He talked about the new face of the heister because it was a hot topic on everyone's minds. Everyone wants to know what's going on with the heister faces. He confirmed that the heisters now in Payday 3 are original characters built in engine. They're not based on actors anymore. They are like their own inventions that are kind of reflecting of the original, like the older faces, but a bit more modern, you know, to acknowledge the aging and just build something a bit more game-based. There were like design decisions behind it, he said. That obviously, of course, does have live-action implications for Payday 3. Now, I think personally, I don't know if it is, Drake, I don't know if it is menu music. I'm saying it could be. I'm saying I don't know what it is. It was just in this video in the press kit. The thing is, we already know Payday 3 or Payday in general is going to get another live-action adaptation. And it's going to be either a fully fledged TV series or a movie. We know that's happening. Overkill, Starbreeze have partnered with the company called Stockholm Syndrome to make it happen. The problem is, we don't know if that's the only live-action stuff, if there's going to be some live-action stuff tied to Payday 3 specifically. We don't know the difference, right? So I'm personally leaning towards that there might not be any live-action stuff tied to Payday 3, and that now live-action stuff is going to take its own separate form in the version of its TV series / movie. And honestly, if they do that, I won't mind, because you'll get much more out of the live action than what you ever got from Payday 2 anyway. Live action was such a big thing for Payday as it was, not to be Harry Styles, but I think having it as its own series, even if that means it doesn't tie into the DLC updates, might be a better choice. The only question is who's going to play the characters. If you change the faces in games, the same people play them in the live action thing. That's not something I want to speculate on, because I just don't know. Hopefully we'll get more news about the live action stuff eventually, but I will say I also asked Almir about that, so make sure you watch my interview with Almir on Friday. Seriously, the interview with Almir is so much. If you think the Andreas interview today was good, get excited for the Almir one. There's even more in there. And Almir was even kind enough. You will notice this will give you a bit of a forewarning. So, how many people are in the stream? The 200 people in this stream currently right now, you can get a bit of a forewarning about the Almir interview. There was a very funny thing that happened in that, where in the middle of us recording, the camera overheated. And it was him talking about the Payday credits or microtransactions. And he spent about 2 minutes explaining what they did wrong with Payday 2. And then he went, for Payday 3, however, and the camera died. So I obviously got really panicky and thought, well, there's a whole bunch of the interview that's not going to be in the video. But Almir was very kind enough to call me on Monday online and re-record the answers. So the interview will be complete. But just bear in mind, when you do watch Almir's interview on Friday, the latter half-ish will be recorded online. But the good thing about that was, we recorded it after the embargo had lifted. So I got to add an extra question and say, what's it been like seeing the positive response? Which just makes the interview a lot better, a lot more enjoyable, I think, personally. So get excited. There's some cool stuff there. I'm really, really keen about that. I'm keen to see what people think about it. The Almir interview is definitely going to end the week of Payday off with a bang. I'm keen. And just in case there is anyone here who is new to the channel via Noli, who's seen this stream and gone, who the heck is this guy? My name is Troy. I'm known as Red Archer Live, and at the minute I am undergoing something called the Week of Payday. Let me get the art up for you so you can see, and then I will answer a few more questions because I'm still going to answer more, don't worry. But the artwork has disappeared. That's not epic. Where did it go? I swear my computer just like disappears things at this point. That's the template file, but I want the new updated version. Oh. Where's it gone? This is really ruining my point. I wanted to put this image up swiftly and be like, hi, look at this. Sugar. Is it on my desktop? No, it's not. Guys, don't look at me. Don't look at me while I do this. Don't look at me. I'm sensitive. I'm camera shy. I was meant to be prepared. I'm sorry. Here it comes. So here is the schedule for this week's content. As you can see, once I shrink this down, the Payday 3 Early Access already came out on Monday. Today's interview with Andreas came out already. Tomorrow is the Crude Awakening heist, so the video on that will be coming out. Thursday, I'll be talking about the full trip to Stockholm, sharing photos from it, sharing stories. It's going to be a really cool video. That's the one I'm expecting will probably underperform a little bit, so if you guys do want to check it out, please do. It'd be cool just to kind of share the story of how it all came to be and what it was like meeting the partners, meeting Almir, meeting the CEO of Starbreeze. There's some cool stuff in there. And then Friday is the interview with Almir Lister. So there you go. They're all, so you can see the time zones on there, 2 p.m. BST UK time, 9 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So get excited. Same time every day, basically. You had replaced it for Prince Charming from Shrek. Yeah, I did. I literally just Googled Prince Charming and put it on the screen immediately because I knew what I was going to do. I'm a funny guy. But yeah, so anyone who's watched the video so far or is going to after this stream, thank you very much. If you haven't subscribed and you do now, thank you. I appreciate it. Right, okay. Let's do 10 minutes, speed run, answering some questions. Let's get some more in because I have to make my Crude Awakening video and I'm further behind than Noli is, so I gotta speed it. I don't script my videos like Noli, so that gives me a slight bit of advantage for putting them together, but I don't want it to be cobbled together. I want it to be good quality, so you got to get back to the grind. So let's see what you guys are saying. If there's any questions that you want me to answer, now's the time to get them in the chat. Did they talk about the Infamy system? They didn't really address it too much. Infamy is just what you call your player level now, and the max level is currently 150. I don't know how they'll do prestige system, because leveling up comes from completing challenges rather than playing heists. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do there. My thought was maybe as they add heists, they could add more challenges and then increase the level cap as a result. Kind of like Destiny with a light level, but a bit more like tolerable. That could be cool. You know, this new DLC heist is out and there are new challenges. The level cap is now increased from 150 to 155. That could be an interesting way to add it, but obviously that doesn't allow you to do prestige systems, so that's still a separate question. Are the cleaner costs, and if so, do you pay them if cops shoot civs possible when held as shield? I don't think cops shooting them would count. I don't think cops will shoot civs because they adapt around you having civs. They're very clever, the AI, with that regard. But the more civvies you kill, the more percentage of the money is taken off you at the end of the heist. If you kill a ton of civvies, you can have as much as 70% of your money taken off you. It's crazy. It's crazy. Is trailer music in the game as heist theme? Absolutely no idea. I very much hope so. Is the AI human, or are they like the NPCs in Payday 2 have eyes behind their backs? Bit of both. They still got a bit of AI jank to them, but they are vastly improved from Payday 2. Vastly improved. Any standout skills you remember or that could be fun to use? Not off the top of my head, because there are a lot of skills that offer very interesting things. The thing that Noli brought up that I'd remind you of again is that there's an ability to answer pages from a distance with one skill. So you look at the body from a distance and then answer the radio and hack it. That will make stealth a lot easier to do with pages. But there's plenty of skills, and I want to explore them all myself. I didn't have tons of chance. Because the thing is, I played Payday 3 a bit less than the other partners because I was interviewing Andreas and interviewing Almir. That ate out of my time playing the game. So there are a few things I didn't see as much of, so I've picked up a lot of information from talking to them, as well as my own playtime. But to be fair, the video I put up on Monday was just from my own notes. There were a couple of things I picked up from talking to everyone, but everything else was what I learned anyway, so I did clearly play enough to talk about it for 45 minutes. Let's see what else we've got. Was throwing bags over distances in vans, for example, still as satisfying? I think that you throw them nowhere near as far. I'd like to see maybe some kind of transporter skill reintroduced to increase throw distance. That could be good, because currently they feel a bit harder to throw. Will console have some kind of aim assist? My aim is almost as bad as the F-tier SWAT and Payday 2. Presumably there'll be some kind of controller aim support. I would imagine aim assist. I think. I wouldn't confirm it, but I would assume it. Since you can level up weapons to get attachments, can you prestige weapons to receive skins? I don't believe so, because you can customize the color of every individual part of your gun anyway. Skins are probably going to be more for like any exclusive set style things they do in Payday 3, like they've done in Payday 2. I would imagine. Was the M308 looking weapon a sniper or a rifle? It was a rifle, I believe. There was a good sniper that felt a bit like it, but there was an actual M308 like single fire rifle. The nuclear cost is actually going to have an effect. Yeah, it doesn't just take something out of your offshore or something. It's an actual percentage of what you get out of that heist. So you're more conscious of being in the moment. Do you think Payday 3 has more skills than Payday 2? So Payday 3, as Noli said, has 16 skill branches at base right now. And I think each branch has 6 skills and then an ace, so call it 7 skills. So what's 7 times 16? That would be 18, 96, 112? Yeah, 112 skills. So that's probably a bit less than Payday 3. Payday 2, sorry, but it's probably not much off. Because how many does Payday 2 have? Payday 2 has 6 per sub-tree, so 18 overall. 18 times 5, 90. Ooh, but they could be aced, technically 180. So yeah, maybe Payday 3's got less skills. But that's also to bear in mind, they've removed, like, skills that are, like, you need to use, like Jokers and Inspire, things like that. So they kind of refine the skill system, I think. I like it. And they've also said, like, that they will probably revisit skills later down the line and add more branches in anyway, as updates go along, so bear that in mind. How many masters will be in Payday 3? There were a few in the game, but not, like, an excess of them. It could just be we only got a base taste in our build. I mean, we didn't even have 2 of the heisters in the game. You know, there's 2 other heisters at launch. We don't even know who they are. The build didn't even have them in it. So, it could be that, like, the cosmetics aren't as much in there either. No Joker skills, Ender. Jokers are gone. Do you have any idea who the other 2 heisters at launch could be? They're teasing Houston, so it could be Houston. But I am not going to theorize too much beyond that, because the problem is, the second that you theorize a particular heister, you can have someone come off this stream and go, Red Archer Live said blah blah blah's coming back. I don't want to, like, incite that fire. I don't want to get people thinking that a certain heist is coming back based on my own personal theories or my own hopes. So all I will say is I am aware they teased Houston in their dev diary. That could just be a passing joke. It could be an actual tease of Houston. Beyond that, we just don't know. What I do hope personally is that there is a female heister, at least one of them. That's my personal hope. There's a lot of girl gamers, gamer girls out there. There's a lot of female players in the Payday audience. You know, we don't want it to just be a complete sausage fest with the heister loadout. So I'd like to see at least one female heister. Maybe even 2. It'd be great if both the missing ones are women. But I don't know what they're planning. I really don't. And you don't even know if they're going to be returning heisters or new ones. That's why I'm not speculating too much, because we just don't know. All I'm saying is I would hope for at least one woman. There you go. Would you see Payday 3 feels more like a sequel to Payday the Heist or Payday 2? I mean, based on the number alone, more Payday 2. I don't know. I'm like... I personally think that it feels like a good successor to both. Because there are things in Payday the Heist and Payday 2 that it adapts from. So I wouldn't pick one over the other. I think there's really good elements from both there. Houston and Joy. I mean, who are the most popular female heisters anyway? Is Joy more popular these days? I would have thought Clover would be the most popular female heister. I'd love to say Sydney, but I feel like Clover might be more popular. I don't even know how people feel about Joy. I don't really see many Joy mains out there, but who knows. Do you get 1 year or 1 year and 6 months season pass or gold edition? Just 1 year. Because for anyone who doesn't know, we've already got confirmed Payday 3 will have DLC support for 18 months post-launch, but you can only buy the gold season pass right now that gives you the first year of DLC. So you can't buy the following 6 months yet. It's too far away anyway. You wouldn't want to buy DLC that far in advance. Buying a year season pass before the game even comes out might be a bit much for a lot of people. It certainly is for me. I'm a bit like, So, I hope it's not Sydney. No offense, but her voice is piercing and annoying. That's a shame. I know people think that. I personally really like Sydney. Also, her voice actress is lovely. I know it's not a reason to bring someone back. But don't forget, like, characters can be brought back and changed. I mean, think about it. Damien Poitier wasn't even changed his voice in the first Payday game. Changed his personality, changed a bit, and the voice performance changed a bit in Payday 2. People liked him more, so you could bring a character back and make them more enjoyable. It could be that, like, for example, if Joy was coming back, like, you could go, well, people don't really like her in Payday 2, but in Payday 3, she could be completely different. You don't know. And again, I'm being very careful because I don't want to theorize, because I just don't know. And I kind of really like that. I really like not knowing. I want to be surprised. I don't know how they're going to do it. Like, obviously, we're probably going to know who they are before launch, but I don't know how close to it. I mean, remind me, what are the Dev Diary episodes? What are the Dev Diary episodes? I've forgotten the actual names of them. Next one is combat, then it's art and animation, heists, skills and progression, customization, narrative and sounds, and then launching the game. So you could probably avoid the heisters until episode 8 with narrative and sounds, maybe mention the narrative, which heisters have come back. So you may not know until really close to launch. It just depends on what they want to do. Because bear in mind, the build we played, like I said, didn't even have the 2 heisters in them. So if they, for example, if they did a beta, they could do a beta with just the 4 characters in. You don't know. So, I'm saying a lot about this, but the point is I'm not theorizing, which is a lot to say that, but you get the point. Do you think we'll get an Overdrill-like secret in Payday 3? I hope so. I would like there to be some kind of secret things and then the community kind of band together to find. That'd be cool. Be very cool. Can you mark enemies allowed in Payday 3? I am 99% confident that you can. I'd like for Clover to return for some story stuff between her and Hoxton. That'd be good. Are there going to be more weapons that will be included at launch than the ones you saw in the test build you played? I'd love to answer that, but I do not know the answer. There were a good range of guns available. Would I like there to be more? Yes. But will there be more with post-launch stuff? Yes, anyway. So, you never know. You never know. Oh, look, there's a channel member in the chat, Honomaki. He's got the silver Dallas mask. Very, very cool. Yeah, if anyone wants to become a channel member, remember, like I said, you can get a Dallas mask next to your name in chat and in your comments. Very, very cool. Hostage rescue team's back. I don't think that they're back specifically, no. It's more the cops will just behave differently around the cops, around the civvies as a whole. There's sabotage squads that, like, kind of compromise your objectives, but not specifically HRTs, like hostage rescue teams. Can you intimidate cops? Yes, you can. That's skill-based, though, for stealth. You need a skill to do it. What's Shade like? I like her. We've not seen or heard too much of her yet, but I'm getting a good impression. Good performance. Love to know who the voice actress is, but I guess we'll find out closer to time. Police voice lines useful in Payday 3 instead of being non-useful gibberish. Haven't heard tons. Again, like Noli said, we don't have tons of the voice lines in that build. Not all of them are in there. But like what I've heard, I like. How many DLCs will you publish? Well, I don't work for Starbreeze, so it's not my decision. In terms of how many DLCs are coming out for Payday 3, though, the current plan is 1 a month. So the season pass, the gold, will cover a year's DLC, 12 DLC packs, presumably releasing once a month. They haven't said once a month, but it makes sense for it to be that. Did they have VoIP? Or is it just a normal chat where you can hear all your teammates from anywhere? Oh, is that like proximity voiceover in proximity? Is that what that means? I don't know, because we all did Discord calls when we were playing. We all like went into specific Discord calls and played that way, so I can't answer that question. I don't know. Just watched the interview and it was awesome. Looks like you had a great time with Andreas. Thank you, Inside. Yeah, it was a blast. He's such a lovely guy. And I really love that interview, and I'm glad people are really enjoying it. It's a funny medic bag line back. I haven't heard it. I do want some Mimi lines in there, but I wouldn't complain if Dallas was a bit more serious and didn't say, I need a medic bag. You wouldn't hear me complaining about that, I'll be honest with you. Sabotage squad to make the assault endless. They don't know. That's the FBI van, which is a combination of the SWAT turret and Captain Winters. It's basically the SWAT turret, but without the turret. There's an antenna on the top of it. It's hidden somewhere in the map, and if you destroy the antenna on the van, it will break the endless assault. So you get an endless assault when an FBI van shows up, break the antenna, you break it. But there's no turret on it or anything like that. It's best of both worlds. Voice over internet protocol. Oh, I didn't know that. Thank you. You learn something every day. We get a sequel to Chains is in a Pickle. Chains is in a cauliflower. Confirmed. There you go. That's a leak. It's not really. Agent 47 crossover when? That could be an interesting one. You got to be careful because they said they want things to feel in universe. So you have to be careful with what you do. That could be one that might be a bit less inoffensive. I don't know. What else have we got? I think we're coming towards the end of the questions that have been asked recently. Is there anything towards the end? If anyone's asked a question again and I've not answered it, pop it back in the chat now, because this is going to be my last call for questions. Probably a dumb question, but has it been confirmed that there will be an offline mode? Not a dumb question. We haven't had confirmation. I don't know at present. I hope there is, but with you needing a Starbreeze Nebula account to play, I wouldn't be surprised if it was online only. As long as you can pause a private match, I'm quite happy there. Was there any mention of the medic enemy coming back in Payday 3? This is the thing, because Andreas said that all the enemies are coming back. It's been specified that all the enemies are returning from Payday 2. But I don't remember seeing a medic. So I don't know. Maybe high difficulties only. Not sure. Will it be a career mode or campaign for Payday 3? Nothing was mentioned at present. But there's challenges, to be fair. And one of the challenge categories is meta. So maybe those are a bit more like story-based. I don't know. Can we customize keybinds? There are several different key layouts. Like, for example, in the build we played, throw grenade and throw bag are swapped from Payday 2. But they mentioned to me that there will be legacy control maps for like Payday 2 style controls. Not everything will be the same because there's different things you can do now, so different button prompts for different things. But you will have the option to switch to Payday 2 controls if you want. Does that mean you can customize individual keys? I don't know for sure. But I don't see why you wouldn't be able to. When will Payday 4 release? 2077. Can guards relock secure areas? Well, it's not necessarily that secure areas are locked. It's more that the privacy is tighter in them. If you're spotted, the guards will deal more severely with it. It's not necessarily that you need to break into them, more just that they're tighter and you need to avoid guards a bit more in those. Saw an article where the Overkill devs wants to do a crossover with Batman, and I got a repost. So, what? Oh my god. So hang on, who did that? Because that's from my interview with Andreas. That's from my interview with Andreas. Who posted that? Because to be fair, I actually want to check and make sure they quoted the video. They referenced it. Because I asked Andreas in the interview, what collaboration would you most want? And he said Batman. Has someone really run with that from... of course they have. Oh, media are vultures, man. The media are vultures. If I Google this, if I just search Payday 3 Batman and something comes up, I swear to God. Oh, this came out before. Oh, they must have mentioned it previously. Damn, let's see what they said. Listo says, John McClane, Die Hard. Oh, they said Batman to the press as well. Never mind. Sorry, take it back. So the press asked them and they also said Batman there. That wasn't an original idea Andreas offered me. Wow, very sad. Very sad. But either way, yeah, so he mentions that in the interview, so... Intriguing. That's more of a passing comment. That's more for media clicks and headlines. I don't believe they'd actually do a Batman crossover. Like they said, they want crossovers to fit the universe, right? So Batman, no. Have you noticed any changes to the bag moving mechanics? I think you move faster. I'll say that much. Doesn't feel like bags slow you down as much now, but they're also a bit heavier to throw. CPU RAM is well over minimum specs. Oh yeah, so everyone's talking about specs. If you're wondering what build we played on the in the press build. We were on PCs with like i9s and like 4090s or something, whatever the highest graphic card is. It was like a really powerful loadout, I'm pretty sure. So we had consistent like 100 to 120 FPS gameplay at what I think was 4K, it might have been 1440p. So it ran really well. That's because we had really good PCs. I don't know how it runs on slightly lower end PCs, but some partners did play online, and from what I've seen them talk about it, I didn't see many complaints. So I think the specs are good. So if you have what the game says, you should be able to run it fairly well. Will Murky Water come back, even though they went bankrupt, maybe also reconstructed? I don't know. They might be more of a Payday 2 based thing. Depends on whether Locke will come back, right? He was a Murky Water character, and right now we haven't seen him in Payday 3. Maybe they're leaving all Murky Water related stuff behind. I hope not. I love Ian Russell. I want him back. I think the Overkill weapon being able to be picked up by anyone is vital, although people control and take them. Maybe a timer or a pin can unlock it for all. Yeah, like, the whole thing is you can press weapon swap to drop the Overkill weapon and anyone can pick it up, and that's great. So you could claim the weapon and then drop it to give to someone else, maybe. Or, yeah, maybe like a 10-second timer or 5-second timer even, so that the person who called it in gets access priority to it just to prevent that trolling for just 5 seconds. That would do the job. Were there many waiting objectives, or was this experience more dynamic? More dynamic. I didn't feel like I was waiting around for very much to happen. Very many things to happen, which is good. Very much like that. What does Wolf's new VA sound like? Very good. Nicholas Berglund kind of... He emulates Ulf Anderson in a way, but also brings his own take to him, and I think he does a very good job. A very, very good job. I would hope that Wolf fans will be happy with that. Will the Vulcan minigun be an overkill weapon? At present, we only have the Piglet grenade launcher and the sniper rifle with the thermal scope, so I don't know what else they're planning, but it would seem pretty likely to me that a minigun would be an overkill weapon, so I would say they haven't said it, but I would expect it. Everybody gangsters or Batman shows up as suspicion. Imagine. I think it's been said that Overkill are trying to avoid drills and timers. They are trying to avoid them. Does that mean there's going to be none in Payday 3? Probably not. You'll get one that shows up probably, or one or two. But they're not going to like rely on them like they do in Payday 2, which is good. Which is good. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to do what I do sometimes with these Q&A things. I'm going to do final 5 questions. What I am going to do, because I did do a community post about a week ago asking you guys to send me questions in about Payday 3. Then I ended up getting to play the game, so I had to table that video idea. But I would like to do a Q&A, just answering your questions in video form, having given me more chance to think about things. So if you have got questions that weren't answered today, don't worry. I will make sure that I do a Q&A, maybe next week, maybe the week after. But I'm going to answer 5 more questions. So if anyone's got any questions in the chat I've not answered, put them in again now. I'm going to do 5 and count it down. So here's number 5. Do you think the safe house will return to Payday 3, and do Starbreeze know what the story is behind Shade the New Bane? Starbreeze no doubt know what they're planning behind the scenes with story. Doesn't mean they won't change things as they go along, right? Because the Hoxton breakout was not something they planned, but it was there because the community wanted it back. So I imagine they know exactly what they're cooking behind the scenes. Will a safe house return? We don't know. There's been no mention of it. So maybe they may have a safe house, we just may not be able to go to it. I mean, it wasn't that useful in Payday 2. The new one was cooler, but still didn't serve a regular purpose. So maybe they'll just avoid that overall and just not waste the time building one. I wouldn't blame them. Question number 2 of 5, so 4 to go. Is Dallas a medic bag? No. Is Wolf bald? No, he's got a bit of a hair transplant going. He did a Wayne Rooney. He got some hair back. He's got hair in a beard. Penultimate question. Are we going to be able to hold multiple loot bags at a time? If you played Crime Boss, you're probably hoping for it, but unfortunately not. It's 1 bag per character. The looting, like I said, looting and bag carrying, apart from increased movement speed and throwing them a bit heavier, a lot of it feels just like Payday 2, and I would have liked it to have been a bit more modernized. So maybe that'll change then. We don't know. Right, one more question. And I think, I don't know how to pronounce your first name. Is it Hoao? I don't know how to say it. Gabriel, I'm going to say, just to make sure I don't butcher your name completely. I like this question. Are you worried that the grittier gameplay is less fun than the arcadey Payday 2? Not in the slightest. Don't get me wrong, I think everyone likes Payday 2 being a bit of a meme to at least some extent, but I am really excited for a heisting game that feels a bit more rooted. There'll obviously be the jokey lines. Like I said, the only page line I heard was Hoxton saying he was eating beans on toast. Payday's not going super serious, but I welcome it going a bit more grounded, a bit more kind of, not mature, but just a bit more realistic. And the gunplay feels really satisfying, so you won't be sat there going, this doesn't feel as arcadey, so it's not as fun. No, it feels more modern, it feels more gritty, and you will enjoy it. You will enjoy it. Like, there will be very few people, I feel like, have to get in the hands of the game that will be very disappointed. People will have differing opinions. I'm expecting some people to say they don't like it as much, but I'm not expecting a majority. I'll say that much. Like I said earlier, I'm not someone who recommends pre-ordering games, but if you told me to pre-order Payday 3 now, the base game, based on what we'd all said over the last week, I wouldn't blame you. Really wouldn't. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to pause there because we've been live for nearly 3 hours, and I have got a couple of Payday 2 videos, so thank you all very much for hanging out. Again, thank you to Noli for being here. I know he's not here now. If you haven't already subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do click that subscribe button right below. Just takes you 2 seconds. Just 2 seconds. Go do it right now. I'm going to stare at the camera for a second until you do it. No, stop staring at me. Hit the button. Yeah, just scroll down. There you go. Thank you. Also hit the like button if you enjoyed the stream. I would really appreciate that. To anyone who donated, even put something in the chat, even if I didn't read any of your messages, I'm so sorry because there are so many messages, especially earlier on. So I will be doing a community post soon asking you for your questions. Please keep an eye out on that. If you asked a question on the previous community post, feel free to re-ask it again in the new one. If it's, needs recontextualizing, feel free to do so, knowing that I've played the game. But I will do that, so I'll try and answer any questions I missed out on, because I know there's a lot, and I apologize if I missed out on anyone's. But seriously, this has been an absolute blast. Thank you all so much for being here. It's been an absolute honor. But remember that it's not over yet, because the week of Payday continues tomorrow with the Crude Awakening heist. See this right here? It's the week of Payday. It's very, very cool. At same time, every day, Monday to Friday, a brand new video. Tomorrow is update 238 for Payday 2, the Crude Awakening heist. Thursday is going to be my whole video talking about my trip to Stockholm, so another talking style one with all the photos, all sorts of really cool things there. And then Friday, the interview with Almir Lister. We will be ending with a bang, and one hell of a bang, that interview. I'm so excited to get into it and edit it properly, because the amount we talked about was so much fun. You thought, genuinely, I'm not someone to overhype things. You thought Andreas' interview was good? Get excited. Just chatting to Almir was just mental. I mean, it's something I've asked him to do for about 5 years, so I hope that it's worth the wait for everyone else, because it certainly was for me. But thank you all for being here. I will leave it there. We're not live on Twitch, so I can't raid somebody. Oh yeah, I should have mentioned, sorry, of course, if you don't know that I stream on Twitch, Twitch.tv/RedArcherLive. You can see it in a link on my YouTube channel. It's like in that on the banner. You can click it. I stream 3 times a week, and I'm going to be live on Twitch tomorrow and on Thursday. Tomorrow I'll be playing Payday 2 Update 238 live at 7 PM UK time, so the time this stream started tomorrow on Twitch. There might well be new Twitch drops. I haven't had confirmation on that, but usually when there's a new heist, there's new Twitch drops. So I'm hoping there will be, so you can get content for Payday 2 on PC. Twitch.tv/RedArcherLive. Go and drop us a follow. But I will see you all there tomorrow at 7 PM. Payday 2. I'll also be playing Black Ops Cold War on Thursday. There's a lot of stuff I'm doing this week. I'm very busy. I can't wait till Sunday where I kick my feet up and relax and do nothing. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. But I'm going to leave it there. Thank you all very much for hanging out. I will see you all very, very soon. Much love. Seriously, thank you all for being here. It's been one hell of a stream. And I will see you all very soon.